See that lineup?
Yeah. Just loading up stream and stuff. I'll take a look at the lineup now. Oh, we've got gamer. Interesting. It's like the Protoss and Terran squad's looking pretty serious, but maybe a little bit of a not such A-team lineup on the Zerg squad.
Yeah, they don't really need to do anything to get to the finals, but there's a potential. There's a possibility. Remember.
Yeah. If Zerg don't win at all, rankings. And Terran and well, yeah, I mean, we could see multiple ties here, right? Like you could see Terran win it. Wait, Terran can't get it. Sorry. So Terran has to lose it, Protoss has to win it, Zerg has to lose it, and then we have a tiebreaker.
Yeah, if Zerg gets last and Protoss gets first, then
which is looking that potential more likely if the Zerg squad isn't so strong. It's like, you know, yeah.
It's not the strongest Zerg lineup. It's, I think, probably we're gonna see either Terran or Protoss
in the cards.
Yeah, Stork and Snow, best.
Yeah.
A nasty lineup.
Yeah, it's looking pretty strong.
It's looking good. Whew. All right.
Give me like 2 minutes to send out links and then I'll be ready.
Okay.
I may want to... Can you hear that right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to close that window as well in a minute. Feels like a tank driving past. What's that sound?
What is that?
It's just building equipment. Building machinery. Imagine I lived on like some secret military base somewhere and I've got to come up with like excuses for the weird background noises. Well, that's just a tractor. I'm gonna close that window and then be ready.
Oh, okay.
Alright. And yes, Everett, you are just in time for some weird shun noises. Oh yeah, I need to get Audacity ready. Settle down, settle in. Got some KCM games coming up just in a moment here. Saying, let me know when you want me to do Audacity and go.
Alright, let me just pull this up. I'll hide that. All right. Go ahead and start it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Week 8 of the KCM. We're starting things off on Monty Hall this week. Game number 1, Saxry versus Stork. Should be a lot of fun. Let's hop right in. Our lineup this week is looking very interesting. As you can see, Royal Lightspeed, Best, Stork, Snow, Jaedong, Saxry, and Gamo. Maybe Zerg getting a little comfortable there in the first place spot.
Yeah, and you know what that means, Saying? It means it's just that little bit more likely for Zerg to come last place and maybe see that tiebreaker situation with how strong these other two squads are looking.
Yeah, let me bring up the point rankings from last week. As you guys can see, if Protoss takes first place in this final week and Zerg takes third, Protoss will get 2 points and will be all tied up at 9. So this is basically the perfect situation for a tiebreaker. It just depends on whether Protoss can actually perform and what's Terran going to look like this week, because they brought a sick lineup as well.
Yeah, they definitely did. I think it's going to be one of those two squads. I mean, I guess there is a world in which Jaedong somehow manages to carry, but I don't really see that in the cards at all. And Saxry and Gamo just aren't on the same kind of caliber as these other legends are. So yeah, I imagine it's going to be a Terran or a Protoss victory given this current lineup. But we'll see. It is KCM. Anything's possible. We've seen so much craziness over the seasons and weeks. So who knows, right?
We've seen a lot of craziness on this map specifically. Saxry going to jump one of his drones over to the bottom lane. And I wonder if there's any rhyme or reason. Wait, where's this drone going? It's just checking. Okay. Yeah. Checking for a proxy. Going to get back. Go ahead and drop that hatchery. I've seen a lot of Zerg players hop the drone over and then take a mineral patch or a bite of those minerals, so that they can open up the pathway a little bit faster. Saxry prioritizing the scouting, though.
Yeah.
Maybe thinking that Stork was going to go for that.
They send the drone a little bit prematurely for two reasons. One, it allows them to either scout for a proxy or mine out the wall faster, like you say. But it's also so that if they fail in getting the drill, there should be enough time that they'll still get the hatchery on time. You know what I mean? If they fail hopping it over once or twice. So it gives you a little bit of wiggle room there in the early game.
Stork's gone with a Nexus first, but both being on the same pathway means you're bound to butt heads pretty early on. We'll see who ends up getting aggressive first, as Stork's gone for a Forge opener. Gonna drop that gateway now and see how much more greedy he can get, if he's going to delay putting down that cannon or not. He's finally sent out the probe and should be spotting the hatchery in a moment, but Saxry still has no idea that they are in the same lane.
Right. And it's looking like it might be a 2-hatch Mutalisk build or something here at a Saxry. He went for pretty fast gas. I imagine he took Lair, not Link Speed, in this situation. I'm pretty sure he would have done that. Although I guess it's possible he would have taken Link Speed to attempt a run by here. We do see that in the meta a little bit here. Probe unable to stop and deny the wall being mined out, so we will see a flow of Zerglings able to gain access. Though it is going to be that Lair like I thought it might be, just straight into unable to get the drone, the denial of the probe scout though, so Stork going to be well aware of what timings he needs to hit and maybe throwing down a cannon in these mineral lines at some point if Saxry does elect to go for a very fast 2-hatch Muta timing.
Stork was actually looking to throw down a pylon in between these patches, or just below the patches, in order to block the drones from coming through, but actually did a pretty good job making sure that didn't happen. Trying to hop the probe out. Sneaky maneuver there, but Stork not able to pull it off. Loses that probe. He's got the information.
Yeah.
Like you said, though, he should be able to prepare for this accordingly.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty annoying, especially with the fact that he has access to the natural expansion with Zerglings. So it means that Stork's build does have to be a little bit more cut than usual because he has to worry about Ling run-bys and what have you. But now that he knows the fast layer is a factor, he probably isn't too worried about the Ling run-by. He's probably has well identified that this is going to be a 2-hatch muta play into something else. So like maybe like a 2-hatch muta play into a 5-hatch setup or what have you.
Yeah, he's not really respecting Ling run-by at all, and Saxry isn't going to try for that type of play. Instead, getting his third hatchery out over on the top path, and hasn't taken his second gas yet. Triple Stargate! Oh, wow.
Okay, we saw this before in another tournament. I'm not so sure about this saying. I mean, a 2 is more than enough. I think 3 is a little overkill, and sometimes 2 can come back to bite you and haunt you. So I don't really understand why Protoss players seem to be doubling down like this and going for the trio here. Seems a little excessive to me.
Is there a possibility that he could go into carrier with 3?
Not on 2 bases, saying.
3 Stargates? Definitely not, but I'm thinking long term, is there a possibility that we could see carriers in this game? It is kind of a Scourge are so deadly against carriers. It's very, very hard to make them work against a professional Zerg player. So generally, we just don't end up seeing them. But occasionally on island maps, we have seen full-on air Protoss play. And look at this. Oh, gosh, is he going to spot the triple Stargate? There it is. He sees it.
Nice.
Oh man, that's massive.
That's crazy. Okay, so yeah, like a lot of tempo will probably be dwindled away now for Stork, unfortunately. Might even lose this one Corsair on the intercept as these other Scourge try and line up for it. Stork not able to break their ankles, so going to be losing that Corsair as well. This is what I was worried about. Like, if it gets scouted or like figured out, then you're kind of just like dead in the water, committing to something the Zerg player can then compensate for. And I don't know if this will line up nicely for Stork now. I mean, Saxy will just sit back, make hatcheries, and just pump a lot of drones, make a few Hydralisks here to have some kind of buffer. But I guess there is a world where Stork can be very active with these Corsairs, maybe supply box Saxry, start to chain kill some Scourge when they're made in a panic. I mean, there is a world where Stork can run away with the game. I'm just not seeing it.
Yeah, it seems unlikely at this point. Stork looking to take a third base. He's going to continue to produce Corsairs. He's moving out with a big group of them. Being a little bit tentative so far, as Saxry back at home just keeps making Hydras and sets up with this Spore Colony. I guess the really big problem with this play, when you're going for 3 Stargate, there's no way that you can afford a DT as well. So he could just keep all of his Overlords in one position. Uh-oh, gonna lose a few.
Yeah. Well, this is what I was thinking about before. Like, there is a world in which, like, we get a supply block going, and there's not quite enough units out to prevent harassment. And Stork can like be a little bit annoying for a good minute here before Saxry can stabilize again. And there is only 1 Spore as well, so we can happily sit on top of that just for a few moments to maybe snipe an Overlord from the periphery and what have you. So honestly, this could work out for Stork still. But we see some Scourge being made. If the Corsairs don't get denied at this point in the junction, it is a little bit annoying for Saxry to restabilize here if he loses any more Overlords.
Ooh, he's just going to dive right on top of that Spore. Spores are great, but they're not the strongest. They're not the exact counter that you need. Even the Scourge get wiped out as they come in. Maybe 1 or 2 Corsairs go down, but a great dive from Stork, recognizing there was a gap in the defense from Saxry. He was moving his Hydras back in towards that main base. Now going to loop around again. Double Robo. Okay, that answers my question. Yeah. Not going to be a full-on airplay. Instead, he's going to go double Robo into a bunch of Reavers. He's likely going to get Disruption Web as well. And it's going to be an interesting game. We're probably going to see Stork start to take bases in the bottom left corner, top right corner, just big island bases. And with the third base online, it gets really scary as a Zerg player.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically Reaver Ser, but like done in a roundabout way where he's getting the third base before even getting the Reavers. But the double Robo will allow him to catch up in those units quite quickly, trying to get some more Overlord kills, but not quite able to find them. And yeah, this 3-base economy setup with the Reaver Ser choice of composition is going to be really rough for Saxry to find a cost-efficient way of engaging that. He's going to have to think a lot more tactically because he will probably lose out on just blind trades. So we'll have to try and think of a way of outmaneuvering Stork here.
Well, he has chosen the central path to try and make an attack happen. There's a few cannons at this base, but they're not on high ground or anything, and there's no storm. He needs a Reaver at this base before the Hydras arrive, or we could just see Stork get knocked out. Saxry coming in with this blow. There's the Reaver crawling out, slugging it over to this base, just barely in time. Will it be enough, though? Hydras are going to run forward, try to gun down that... Oh god, the Reaver's gone. That's it.
This is rough. Yeah, the third base is pretty much dead in the water now. Desperately trying to kill these Hydras of probes, but it's not going to happen. Particle Beam can't cut through that much HP worth of units. So, yeah, small counterattack here for Stork. Might be able to find some drone kills or denied mining time, but it doesn't really matter. The main writing on the wall is the fact that this Nexus is going to go down, and without the third base to power this build, it loses all of its potency. The wind is both literally and figuratively out of the sails of Stork now. Does manage to get in here and kill a few of these Overlords, trying to desperately supply block Saxry. Does manage to do so, but at the cost of so many of his units. There's no chance of Stork getting back into this game.
Yeah, those Corsairs are kind of the linchpin. Oh, and Burrow as well. Very smart move from Saxry to grab Burrow. You could go for drops as well. He can basically do whatever he wants. He's going to decide to take a fourth base, really secure his lead in this game. Stork is setting up a bunch of cannons, and he has 2 Reavers ready to defend this third, but can he hang on to it? I don't think so. Picking up the Reavers and pulling them back, it's not going to be enough. He loses this shuttle, and even though he's going to get some great connections with these Scarabs, it's just going to result in another kill on this base, and triple robotics facility. He's got the 3-3 build. 3 Robos, 3 Stargates.
I mean,
I don't think this is the call, though.
This seems like a build you'd do in, like, Fastest or something. Doesn't seem like something you'd pull out on a 1v1 map, but it is Monty Hall, I guess. These builds can sometimes work, but this is really rough for Stork. Saxry's done such a, like, Zerg 101 on dealing with this build, and to be fair, like, Stork did a very unusual approach to it. I feel like his unorthodox approach, for some reason, seems to be a bit meta right now. A lot of Protosses are thinking that this 3 Stargate is a good way of playing on this map. Maybe there is some good functionality to it to help deal with the air superiority of the Muta Scourge and what have you, and because you're not having to deal with early defenses, it makes sense. But I don't know, like, I'm not seeing much success in it, and like we see here, like, Saxry just running rings around Stork with the bare minimal here, as Stork desperately tries to get a third up.
He needs this third base very badly. He's going to send a shuttle around the outside of the map. If he has a probe in there, drop it in the top right-hand corner. I feel like that's the best way to take a third.
Yeah.
It feels bad that Stork opened up a pathway into his main. Oh, lurkers being made in this corner. Things just getting worse and worse for Stork. If you could keep this as much of an island map as possible, I feel like that's the best course of action. But he's not able to do that. He's opened up a pathway into his main, and now he's got another area to defend. He's going to lose a Reaver. He's not able to deal any damage on Saxry's side of the map, and he's going to start to lose a huge amount of probes as well. Good pullback from Stork. He can send all those probes over to his fresh third base, but this is just getting worse and worse. Saxry is getting light years ahead at this point.
Yeah.
He's already got a big supply lead. And it's just going to get larger.
He's got lurkers denying his mining in the main. He's only just now building an observatory, and Hydras on top of the production is pretty much over for Stork. I mean, this is going to be very refugee-style Protoss, maybe with a 0.001% win chance here. If maybe somehow a jet engine could fall on Saxry's house, there is a chance that Stork could win this game Donnie Darko style, but at the moment, it's looking like just a little bit of a micro battle to delay the inevitable. There is 5 Reavers with some Corsairs running into the natural expansion of Saxry now, trying to find some desperate compensation, but he's probably not going to achieve anything.
Yeah, if you want to take good trades with the Reavers, you have to force the Hydras to line up, to stack together. He's not really getting the greatest trade here. He will end up winning this fight, it seems. But it's very close. One Reaver remains.
This is really well done by Saxry. Like, he's always just had the right amount of Hydra and like the right amount of Micro to like split the Hydras and kill off the Reavers. He's done some very good tactical maneuvers in this game. Pretty impressed with him.
He's gonna burrow a Hydra behind this mineral line.
A lurker like he did the other two. That's where those lurkers came from, those Hydras that were burrowed at the top of the base earlier. So yeah, he might make a lurker in his natural again.
More bases coming up for Saxry. He's just gonna keep extending this lead, making more and more Hydras and throwing them at Stork, never allowing him to regain his balance in this game. Stork has managed to get a third base up and running, but I doubt that has a lot of defenses at it. In fact, I'm pretty sure there's almost nothing at that third base keeping it alive. It'll just be the story of Saxry finding that base and Stork tapping out of this game.
Yeah.
In fact, he's just going to run back into the main. This is the point where the Reavers should be strongest, is as the Hydras are coming through that tight little choke, but it's actually not close enough, and the Hydras end up getting through that choke, splitting up pretty effectively against these Reavers, which will end up going down. This main base has been completely ravaged. Yeah. And this last Reaver will end up falling as well. Nothing he can do about it. Stork gonna have to tap out.
Yeah.
GG. Wow.
Rough.
Yeah, I didn't expect Stork to go down already, but there it is. Saxry getting the first win this week. Oof.
I mean, you could probably put a B rank Zerg in Saxry's shoes and he'll still finish that game. You know,
Sure.
Pretty rough.
Would have been. I hate to say it, but it would have been way better, I think, to just take an island. That rather than try to take your third like that.
Yeah. I don't necessarily disagree. And it forces Saxry to get drop upgrade to even think about doing anything about it as well, pretty much. Unless he doesn't mute a switch, which is unlikely.
Not with that many Corsairs, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, let's keep going.
Yeah, go from it.
Hopping into game number 2, Saxry versus Royal here on Kickback. I've been liking this map a lot for Terran versus Zerg because we get to experience some pretty interesting, crazy Zerg styles. It feels like players are pretty much sold that is the way to do it as a Zerg player versus Terran.
It certainly seems that way. We see a very fast center 8 racks coming out from Royal. Wonder how this is going to pan out, because Saxry is pretty good at blocking 8 racks with his drones and what have you. I'm curious if he'll do like a 12-12-12 build and then really be lagging behind his timing, so he'll have to be very on top of his drone micro or whatnot. I imagine he'll be relatively greedy. So it's possible we will see a 12-12-12 into a 2.5 hatch from Saxry, which will make him very vulnerable to this 8 racks.
The 8 racks is built on the left-hand side of the map, though unfortunately it's not that much closer to the base of Saxry than just the natural, like a barracks just outside the natural of Royal would be kind of comparable in distance. Now, Saxry is scouting the middle. I think he's just barely going to miss this. This would be the typical location for an 8 racks to be placed down, right in the middle between those mineral patches. But Saxry going to completely miss this. He sends the drone down to the bottom left. Scouting cross map is interesting, but he's not going to find anything.
Yeah, this is really well placed barracks from Royal, and yeah, I understand Saxry completely. I would feel safe doing 12-12-12 and cross map scouting as well. But now he's going to be very deceived. He does at least know that it's cross positions with this cross map scout, so he will be a little bit cautious that it could just be a more standard 10 racks or 8 racks pressure play that's not so far forward. But yeah, now that he sees there's nothing in the wall, okay, he sees it with the drone. Okay, so he will have some time to react now. So, but he did go 12-12-12, so he does have to rely fully on drones now. Has to be very careful. Does try and throw down a creep colony. I'm sure this is just a sandbag and buy time here, because the bunker will come up right on schedule, and we'll have to see the drone pool.
Drones being pulled. Lings are in production now. Sunken will start this bunker. He might be able to deny it for a little bit longer. He's going to lose one drone. Nice target there, but he kills the SCV. That's good enough.
Yeah.
Doesn't really need to do much more than that. He's going to surround these Marines, which are trying to pick off one last drone. He does get one more drone. So 2 drones total. Not quite enough.
Yeah.
For what Royal did. And you know what? This Sunken is big brain, because that sandbagged this attack, and it's going to be necessary to deal with the Vulture as well.
Right, and honestly, you can't usually do that. Like the only reason this was a good option for Saxry was he scouted it a little bit early, and he also had the shorter run distance from his mineral line to place that Sunken there, obviously. So, yeah, really nice tactical response from him. Looks like it'll probably pan out. Beautiful surround on this Vulture almost. Does manage to get it down to the south, though, and there isn't a wall in on the bottom, so we'll be able to get it away safely if he needs to. Does try and pounce for us around again. Not able to do so. Does kill the SCV that's building that starport, though, and delaying the timings is going to be very annoying. Will maybe catch this other SCV as well. Does manage to clean that up, so really denying the timing of this Wraith is going to be critical. And he's going to catch the Vulture. He's blocked it with his own Vulture from behind. Royal's in a little bit of trouble now. He's lost way too much value to these just simple Zerglings that didn't even have speed for a while.
Oh, Saxry is on fire. That link control was just crazy. Oh, double starport follow-up. Such an interesting move from Royal. He's trying to be so sneaky with this. Yeah. Setting up a second starport over on that high ground down in the bottom left. It's so counterintuitive to the way that we've seen most players on this map play. Is highly macro focused. Royal is just going for all-out aggression. So far, it hasn't worked well, but he's going to try a run by. Oh, man, the Hydras are just right there and ready. He won't be able to do anything with these Vultures. This is huge for Saxry.
Yeah, I've been pretty impressed with Saxry's early game defense. I did suspect that he would be ready for any kind of shenanigans out of Royal. He is usually quite adept at his early game defense. I think that's one of the reasons you saw him rise from the muck, so to speak, and like managed to survive while coming up against all the pros. Like, he was one of the Zergs that actually was well-rounded as well as a strong macro player and could handle these early game pressures. But look at this, not able to get any Marines into the bunker yet. Maybe, okay, can't quite catch the Marine, but I don't think it matters. I think already like Saxry is taxing Royal a little bit here. There is a world where we just see a massive pump of Hydras and we try and bunker bust this. Saxry may not commit to that. He's probably trying to weigh his odds right now. Like, is there a way I can just pounce on top of this and kill SCVs, or do I just, like, transition and like play it like a PVZ where you kind of like, hedge your bets? Do I want to like force a defensive risk reaction here and just transition, or do I want to commit to it? Probably see a transition. I can't imagine he'll commit to this, but we will see a string of Hydras still be produced. I'm not sure if he'll be able to figure out this 2-port Wraith timing or not. He might still think it's 1-1-1.
I think he's got just enough Hydras to hold on against 2-port Wraith. There is going to be a moment where the Wraiths could potentially fly into the main, cloak, and kill a bunch of drones. Did Saxry opt to grab Burrow, though? That can be a very strong counter against what Royal is doing. In fact, he's going to start to move out right as the Wraiths are coming in. So this is a little bit interesting. Royal's going to get the opportunity to scout this. But, Saxry is just going to turn around, head back home, start to protect his overlords, and get some units over to defend these drones as well. He needs to bring some more Hydras up here. 2 drones have fallen already. He has to keep that Overlord alive. If that goes down, he could lose control of his natural.
Yeah, you need roughly like 1 Hydra per Wraith to like kind of guarantee not losing too much. But once they get to 5 Wraiths or more, then they start one-shotting your drones and it becomes a nightmare. So you kind of want to put the pressure onto the Terran player and deny him any possibility. He does kill one of those paper planes, dives on top of the bunker. The repair is too slow. It's going to crack the egg and the wall is now exposed. SCV's desperately trying to hold that line but unable to do so. Wraiths pew-pewing with their burst lasers, but there's too much HP in this chunk squad of Hydras, and they're going to pretty much devastate this SCV line. Even if somehow Royal does hold this is too much damage to the economy, saying so many SCVs are going to die.
So many SCVs are going down. It's shocking to me that Royal didn't respond more seriously to the number of Hydras that he was seeing. He didn't pull the SCVs to the wall on time. He didn't have a tank out or anything like that. He was still just flying around with his Wraiths, thinking that Saxory just wouldn't attack with the fact that there were, some cloak Wraiths sitting above the Hydras, dealing damage to them this slowly, though. It's not going to be enough to deny, and GG is called. Yeah, you can't just hold off that many Hydras with 5 Wraiths.
No.
I know that they're invisible and they can deal damage, but they're not going to be able to kill all of those Hydras fast enough, and he breaks through that front. A technical game there from Royal, but maybe he got a little bit too fancy with the footwork and ends up getting tripped by Saxory. We've lost 2 players so far. Stork and Royal are both down. Zerg is surprisingly strong this week, and it's being carried by Saxory. That is an interesting development.
Yeah, this is interesting.
뭔가 준결승전을 저희가 준결승 결승을 한 게 되게 오래된 듯한 어떤 그런 느낌이 있어요, 저는 개인적으로. 예, 4대3 매치잖아요. 저희가 또 치열한 또 4대3 매치가 펼쳐지는 요 부활권 제도를 좀 본 지가 오래됐다라는 느낌이 드는데 벌써 너무 기대되고 이렇게 쭉
Best is going to be sent out on Minstrel. We'll see what kind of plays Best wants to go for. Is he going to pull out some shenanigans as well? I would hate to see another Protoss player go like two Stargate and end up losing.
I mean,
it's been a bit frustrating lately.
We were saying earlier about we not being able to see Jadong carrying it, but it seems like Saxory can carry it, which is kind of crazy to think about. That he's already like 2 games up, smashing things right now. Like he's honestly quite impressed by him. I would love to see how he handles himself going forward. He's usually able to hang even in the most chaotic of moments. So usually it's hard to catch him off guard and throw something crazy his way. He's played so many ladder games and grinded so much. But here we see very sneaky probe scout that's going to be just barely spotted by the Overlord. So I think he might be able to get the drone to the ramp in time. Oh, not quite.
Oof. So the probe will get in and scout, see this pool coming. It is a 9 pool with an extractor trick. So he's hoping to put on a little pressure to Best, but we'll just see that forge thrown down. He'll probably get 2 cannons to deal with these early lings, and this is not really going to deal much damage because of this nice scout from Best.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a beautiful scout from Best. And like Saxory almost shut this scout down as well. Like he had it timed out pretty perfectly where he almost denied the scout, and then that would have been a little bit of a frustration from Best. He would have had to hedge his bets to even have a chance at being optimized against this. Does throw down the pylon to disrupt the hatchery location. Saxory will happily place that at the 3rd base though, and will ignore this pylon for the time being because he expects cancel will come anyway, because it's the only way that Best can afford to make the Nexus after the cannon. So interesting from both players here. They seem to have everything kind of mapped out already with each other. I wonder if they've played enough games with each other that we're seeing a very unique kind of set of mind games from both of them.
Perhaps that's the case. Best, I would love to see him throw down a pylon at the natural. Looks like that's not going to happen, but if you guys have ever played Zerg on the ladder, you know that 2 lings does not kill a pylon before it finishes. So if you build a pylon in the natural, where do you even throw down your next hatchery as Zerg? You just sit there and wait, maybe send 2 more drones or something to kill that? 2 lings is not enough. You need 4. And Saxry, he was a little greedy there. He's not going to get punished for it. Only building those 2 lings he's going to get away with. Why do you think, Shun, that they don't build a pylon? Like, why wouldn't you block the natural after you force the 3rd down to the bottom left?
But it depends on how your build.
And there's only 2 lings.
It depends on how your build lines up, right? Like in that instance, like it stops the nexus for too long. But if there's a situation where it doesn't delay your nexus too long, like say you were able to skip cannon because it didn't win like early pool, then that's like you can optimize there and like, you know, commit to the pylon without having to cancel because you're not that behind economically if you do that. Whereas if you are trying to min-max because you're worried about the early pull, then you can't really do that because you need to hit your timing still.
I don't know, I might be... Well, I am definitely kind of retarded, but I feel like this is something that hasn't really been explored by Protoss too much, is when the Zerg player makes only 2 lings, that pylon block is so strong, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Delay that by so much, and even just delaying your nexus by a few seconds, I feel like it would be worth it if you can prevent the second or the 3rd hatch from being placed at the natural for an extra like minute and a half.
I mean, I guess it makes sense from like looking from an outsider's perspective, but maybe on paper it just doesn't work out that way. Like you're just not making 2 probes at a time, so you just don't scale quickly enough because of how delayed your nexus is. It just doesn't become worth it. I don't know exactly how the math works out on that, but I'm sure that it's probably, if there is some way of like figuring out a more optimized path, we're certainly a long way off figuring that out. And I'm sure it isn't just a pylon being blocked on the hatchery spot. I'm sure there's some other things that would need to be fine-tuned as well.
Well, enough
Deliberation,
yeah. We've got Zealots on the map being taken out. So far, Best has been unable to do any damage with those, only killing off a couple of lings and throwing away some of his early game units that could have been useful for the follow-up, you know, +1 attack. Zealot timing. Saxry's deflected everything pretty easily with finesse, and is now getting into his additional hatcheries, getting his drone count up. And does he have that Spire done just about? I think. Let's take a look. There it is. The Spire is done. Some Scourge are about to pop. We'll push back this Corsair in a moment. He'll just barely get the kill on that Overlord, but now needs to bail out immediately. Hydra Den over at the 3rd. Gonna try and hide that from the Corsair. Maybe try to convince him that mutas are coming and do some sort of attack at the front. What do you think, Shun?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I mean, I kind of want him to at least threaten a kind of Ogre Zerg this game. I mean, Saxry's very good at representing Ogre Zerg, even when he's not committing to it fully. I feel like we need to see some kind of like pressure be applied to Best, just to keep Best in check. I don't think Best is the kind of player you want to like just leave to be chill the entire game long. Saxry does have a very powerful macro engine behind him. He is perhaps one of the only non-like high echelon pro Zergs that could hold their own against Best, just sitting back and doing nothing. But I still worry a little bit for him on this map. Like, there's so many times where Zerg feel super comfortable. They get into 9-10 hatchery late game production. Everything seems fine. All of a sudden, they just get cracked open instantly because of like the just getting charged down one lane unexpectedly.
A tough map and can be difficult to maneuver your forces, that is for sure. Zealots are moving out, but there's a good number of Hydras already at the front. They're going to take this fight. Scourge do get wiped out, but the Zealots are going to get tracked down, and this is a lot of Hydras coming. I think this is a 5 hatchery bust that we're seeing right before a Templar come online, because if you saw there, the Scourge flew into the main base. He saw the exact timing on the Templar archives, and so has this opportunity where maybe he can just bust right through. Best is going across the map with his Corsairs, Gonna try to kill a few overlords and supply block Saxory, which actually could be a very big deal considering this is kind of a do or die moment.
Yeah.
One DT coming out to fight these Hydras, but an overlord is with this. Overlord's speed is done.
Oh, I really hope.
Can he actually break through?
I really hope that Saxy's making lurker aspect behind this so that he can contain if this fails. But I don't know if he's thought about that. He's pulling the probes. Does a good job of drilling onto these Hydras, buying some time. The DT is still existing, but there is still two overlords that haven't been picked off, so they can't really get on top of these Hydras and deny them. So there might be a possibility that we can deny this upgrade for Saxory, which could be a big deal if he just kills that forge and denies the upgrade timing. That'll be very frustrating indeed for Best to have to deal with. He's only just now got some High Templars there. It'll be another 10 or 15 seconds before Storm and Energy is ready, so there will be a timing to pick this upgrade off and deny that. So really frustrating for Best going forward. It's exactly how I wanted to see Saxory play, to apply pressure to Best early on.
He's done a good job breaking through this front wall and is now transitioning into a more macro-focused play. Oh, Dark Templar sneaking out on the map. Definitely wants to track that down before it lands itself some kills in one of these bases in the bottom left, or prevents him from taking a well-timed fourth base, because that's the direction that we're heading. Saxory, like you said, has a serious macro engine behind him. He's very good in big macro games. He's picked off the DT. He's going to be taking the hatchery in the bottom left. His drone saturation is getting there. It's not quite there yet, but it's getting there. And a second Evo chamber on the way. We're definitely going to hive this game, I think.
Yeah,
this is a late game Saxory, if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, it's looking like that. And he has done the prerequisite pressure before going into this. I was worried if he was just going to sit back and do this without any kind of pressure being applied to Best, but sniping the upgrade and doing what he did, I actually kind of like this, the way he's approaching this game. And it's not like the lurker contain follow-up that I thought he might be going for, but this is very reasonable and conservative, and should give him probably the best odds at propelling himself into a late game 10 hatchery plus production, and allow him to use his skills to full fruition here and kick it up into the highest macro gear possible.
Well, the difficulties of playing on Minstrel have not gone away just because he's put this on. He's still going to have to deal with the awkwardness of defending these different lanes and trying to prevent Best from just sending in counterattacks everywhere. I wonder if he's going to move lurkers out immediately to kill these eggs. I would really like to see that, because I feel there's so many times, it's so common for Zerg players to get tripped up by the eggs and prevented from combining their forces at critical moments. So far he hasn't done that. He's sending lurkers forward right now. Just 2. Does he have drop to potentially drop into the main, or what is he doing with these 2 lurkers?
Yeah, I'm wondering. I think he is going to do that. Yes, he's just loaded them up now. He's going to do exactly that. But he will probably need to do some kind of bait and switch at the front. Yeah, he's going to show lurkers at the front and try and get his attention focused on the front a little bit more. See if he can maybe bait out the goons and observers into engaging this, so he's distracted and the lurkers can slip in right at that moment.
Here he comes, dropping the lurkers in the mineral line right as this attack comes in. How many kills are we going to get in that mineral line? He's missing it. Oh gosh, all the Corsairs flying. There's a little bit too much going on. Yeah, this lurker, 8 kills already. This one over here, 1 kill so far, will end up losing its life.
That's the mistake.
Pretty decent.
That's a mistake from Saxy, by the way. He should have unloaded the lurker in the bottom right corner, not the top right corner of those mineral patches. You could have done way more damage.
Potentially, for sure. So, a little bit an uncharacteristic mistake for our observer to miss that, but you could tell that Best was getting flustered there with all the stuff that was going on. The Corsairs flying in and just losing their lives for free. Pretty rough. Saxory has not gone to hive. He's just focusing on a layer man play.
Yeah, it's full of
loading up more and more lurkers and hydras and going to send them into the main. The army is out of position right now. Best is in a weird spot where he's thinking about attacking down a different lane, but here comes that drop into the main. This is going to deal a lot of damage, I think, Shun.
Ooh, and he's hooing and hawing with his army. There's pathing issues. The eggs are blocking. He can't do the counterattack efficiently. There is some High Templars in position to deny the drops, though, so 2 Blanket Storms will come out, making the initial drop pretty unfortunate for Saxby, but there should be enough units in reserve in the remainder of those Overlords to start coming out in droves and starting to kill all of those probes once the Lurkers can finally borrow. The counterattack's being pretty efficient, though. So many Hydras getting absolutely decimated by those Psionic Storms. Can he get onto the top of the Zerg production? There's a few rallied units desperately trying to get in a position to prevent Best from getting on top of the production. There's not that much infantry left for Best as well. I think he's just barely cleaned up enough of Best's army that he won't be able to get on top of his drone lines at least.
Oh man, Saxby lost so many Hydras just coming down that ramp. Oh, it's so painful to witness as a Zerg player. Best gets some amazing connections on some of those storms, and now these Overlords are going to fly into the cannons. He gets supply blocked. This could be lights out for Saxby. He's played a great game so far, but Best, I think he just took the better of that trade. He dealt with the drop very well, and he got an amazing fight over by that third base.
Yeah, I thought Best lost a lot more to that drop in the main base with the Lurkers borrowing. Maybe he didn't lose enough of his probes and managed to get them all out to safety with a transfer. Now he's looking pretty healthy. 130 to 90 supply, and Saxby's blocked. Just now becoming unblocked right as he's being attacked. Does have a decent-ish Lurker setup here. Might be enough to buy time. Some tactical Lurker eggs blocking to both soak up phase disruption shots, bug out the AI, and also prevent too much body blocking from Best being able to transfer any of his units further. But he's going to have enough storm to skirmish of Saxby here. I don't know, like the supplies have just kind of clenched up again. I feel like Saxby traded extremely well there, and I'm still liking his position. I don't feel like Best has done enough defensively to be in a great spot. I mean, the third base is coming online at 15 minutes, saying, and granted, like this is still Battle Zerg setup, but it doesn't really matter. He's still gonna have like everything's gonna be on curve. Like he's just now taking his third, so we just take our Queen's Nest, and relatively speaking, Saxby's still looking okay.
I agree. Saxby is looking all right, especially with that Queen's Nest coming down. The Battle Zerg style is kind of a momentum play. You really have to keep the Protoss on their back foot and stop them from expanding for themselves.
Ooh.
But Saxby has lost the momentum in this game, and now the army making its way down into the bottom left-hand corner. I don't think that he can save this. He's going to have to run all the drones away, send them over to that brand new base that he's just setting up, and maybe take another base on the other side of the map. I'm not sure, though, if he can even hold on this high ground. This is a big army, and if it makes it into position in time, running into those storms is just going to be a death sentence. Saxby going for the counterattack, but Best is already on his way back across the map. Has the storm ready to fight this. He does lose the Templar right away. There's 3 cannons, a couple of Dragoons holding on. I think that Saxby can hold this, but we'll just have to see. Or sorry, Best will have to hold. We'll be able to hold this.
Yeah, some tactical AI eggs being thrown down to try and buy some time for some tactical play, but not able to get into position quick enough, and there's not enough unit mass to really accomplish anything here for Saxby. Some beautiful storms from Best as well, getting such high cost efficiency, which is keeping the gap in the supplies where he wants them. But there's still going to be a huge flood of Battle Zerg coming his way until this Hive transition finally is underway. But I don't know, Best can still weather the storm, like with enough storms here, and maybe tactical uses of these Dark Templars, getting some drone kills and what have you, could be enough to have a very strong late game position. Needs to get this 4th base online soon and keep skirmishing with the Zerg more or less non-stop, because there will be such a high count of Hydras and Lurkers that are being made by Saxby, and it's only a matter of time before that Hive kicks in.
I haven't seen the upgrades for a little while. I haven't seen the Hive yet either. There should be Defiler tech getting started soon. Another big load up from Saxby. It looks like he's going to put pressure into the main while Best's army rotates around to the back of these minerals. He does pull away from that position, but even just sending 1 Templar over to that area, try to get some storms on those high grounds would be strong. Here comes that drop. There are Dragoons ready and waiting. A lot of lurkers being dropped out, but they burrow right on top of each other soon. These storms are going to be insane.
Oh, every Zerg player does this. It's so painful to watch. Why are we like this? Oh, man. I don't know what you can say or do about that, but we got to stop bunching our lurkers up like that, guys. And, oh, man, that is painful to watch as a Zerg player. Ugh. It's like watching, like, a guy getting kicked in the balls or something. It makes you wince and, like, empathy, you know?
Yeah, it's like watching Terran players siege 10 tanks on top of each other when the opponent has storms. It's so brutal. They've just thrown away a huge amount of supply. Each of those lurkers, 3 supply, plus all of the money that went into them, 125 gas. Oh, it's so painful to lose that much potency from your army to just a couple of storms. The Storm is a very good unit, guys. Another Storm going to go down. He's going to take out like 8 Hydras with this one Templar. It's insane, but Best is getting into this very nice position behind the mineral patches. Now he can deny this base. However, Saxry's already retaken bottom left, so he's not quite out of it yet. He's still in this game. He's still got chances. It's just Best is definitely taking control and putting Saxry on the back foot.
Right, and it's going to be a matter of time for this main and natural expansion will be mined out. He's resaturating it now because he was trying to mine out as slowly as possible, but now that he's been denied mining at this 5th base, he's going to have to be forced to start mining out this main and natural, which means he'll be reduced to lower and lower amounts of bases worth of economy, and he won't quite have enough production in his wheelhouse that he needs to overwhelm Best. Best, likewise, though, having to deal with these counterattacks, not able to get this 4th base online just yet, and he's mained out on his main and natural, so if he can deny this 4th base for long enough, maybe something can be done here for Saxry. Only 1 base worth of economy coming in for Best at the moment with that delayed 3rd, but it will be alive and churning for quite some time due to being taken so late.
1 base economy, it sounds so limiting for the Protoss player, but it is still reasonable to keep making armies and fighting as long as you're trading properly and utilizing your storms. Best can stay out on the map and keep denying this extra base. It's time to take something else for Saxry. Maybe 12 o'clock is the right choice.
Yeah, I think maybe. I'm liking Saxry's efforts, though. Like, there is a chance where he actually does deny this 4th base. He's doing a good job killing all these high templates, and now maybe get the denial on this Nexus yet again. Like, slowing this down this long is a pretty big deal. If he can keep doing this for another minute or 2, this will be a huge deal, because Best will eventually become mined out on this 3rd base, despite taking it so late at 15 minutes. It won't last forever, especially now that it's like triple saturated with all the other bases becoming diminished. So, honestly, like, there is a world where Saxry turns this game around and completely demolishes Best still, saying I think you've counted Saxry out a little bit prematurely.
I may have done so. Saxry pushing up with a lot of lurkers. Best has been forced to pull back his army and set it up in a position that defends the top right, but he's no longer able to prevent Saxry from mining over at his fresh 5th base. This is so many forces, my goodness.
Yeah,
Saxry hitting his stride now, and he has a defiler as well, so this army is not going to die easy with the dark storms covering these lurkers. That's going to take a lot of storm to eat its way through. This counterattack at the same time is brilliance. He's controlling so many different things right now, and he's going to deny this 4th base again. It's crazy.
It's kind of wild. I mean, he has lost a lot of units, though. He has got so much mass, but cramming it all into a tight space does mean it will get cleaned up just that little bit more cost efficiently. Although with that critical mass, maybe just barely able to punch through the defenses. And with the tactical eggs set up, he is getting a lot of work done killing those pros, but hasn't actually denied the 4th base this time around. Some workers have gone down. This has been very frustrating for Best to clean up, but it does seem like Best has almost barely managed to deny this 4th base from going down, and the trades are honestly still going better for Saxry, though. It's 110 to 100 supply, so if Saxry can keep the gas down all the way before he becomes too mined out, he will be able to technically kill Best. He's got a little bit of time left to do it. Good job tracking the two Dragoons on the left here. Any pickup is going to be huge for Saxry because it's going to come down to the wire because he's almost mined out on some of these bases, whereas Bess is now churning 2 bases again.
This is where things get very scary for the Protoss player. He's stretched out all the way to the top right with all of his forces being sent to that location. Drops now into the main or attacks straight up into the natural would be very difficult for Bess to stop while simultaneously keeping his bases alive in the top right. He just doesn't have the resources anymore. He's behind in supply. 110 is all that he can muster, and Saxry, no doubt, going to hit multiple locations at the same time. Bess is going to really struggle to do anything aside from survive for the next few minutes.
Yeah. And there's so many units that are coming out of Saxry's side of the map. He's so powerful with his macro when he finally does kick into high gear. It has taken him a long time to do so, but one or two good storms, though, can clean up a lot of these forces if they're not in good positions. Does need to start spreading out his units like we see here to get to force as much drainage on that storm well as possible. Beautiful Plague as well, going to really start diminishing the value of these trades that Bess can handle now that he can start churning out those Plagues over and over again. Will basically be relying purely on the shields of the units, and most of those upgrades are in armor and weapons, so they're actually pretty brittle once you get away with those hit points using Plague.
Bess is going to try to counterattack over towards top center while Saxry moves slowly into position, separating the third base from the natural. If he gets a big lurker field in this spot, the top right and the defense of the main, and I think that Saxry will likely load up a bunch of energy on these defilers and press into the natural here soon, because there's only cannons defending that area. Just a couple of Dark Swarms and a group of Lings will break through that very, very quickly and force Bess to run down this ramp into Lurkers under Dark Swarm, giving him a much better trade against these forces. So far, Bess casting out a lot of storms. He's managed to create a pretty massive Archon army out of all of these Templar that he's been able to put together, and that's so many Archons at this point. He is going to be able to hold on very strongly against Lings and Lurkers running up this ramp, but is it even going to matter long term? Saxry has so much going for him behind the scenes. He's got another base going down in the bottom left. He can start to take more bases. 12 o'clock he can take. He's coming through with a counter of Lings to the north of this position. The Archon army is starting to go down. There's so many Lurkers in this field. It's crazy.
Right. Well,
I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, it is still technically 3 bases versus 2 bases. So there is still a world that Best can stabilize if there's too inefficient of trades for Saxry, but right now this is a great position to be in. The Archons are almost necessary. You need some kind of plague resistance, and the Archons provide you plague resistance because they're pretty much shields only. Now though, look at this counter offensive from Best, clearing out most of that lurker field. This is what I was a little bit concerned about. There is a world where there are some efficiencies where Best can restabilize, and I mean, even though like Saxry's growing a little bit by taking that additional base, that's just, you know, compensating for the fact that the third just got mined out. So he's still on the exact same amount of production the entire time, trying to close out the game. Has been unsuccessful in doing so for the time being. So a bit of a weird situation. He's now looking like he's wanting to set up to just chill for a bit and re-macro up and maybe take another base here at the 6.
There's so many different pathways that he has to cover. Is he going to be able to defend properly if he's, you know, forced to maneuver and hold back all of these different attacks that can come from so many different angles? If Best rotates, for example, and goes through the bottom lane or the lower lane, oh god, he's just going to attack into this? I don't know about attacking right into where all the Lurkers are. There's not many Lurkers, for example, at that fresh base in the bottom left.
Yeah.
Why not attack into that? 28 kills on this Archon. Holy, absolute hero. unit there. This is just a testament to Best and how well he's been trading throughout this game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame him for trying. Oh, he catches the drone at 6 as well. I don't blame him for trying to come in here, though, because like he smelt a little bit of weakness. He was like, okay, you had the gas pedal pressed down the entire time a moment ago. Now you're suddenly like letting up. That means because you're a little bit weak right now. So he wanted to come over here and see if he could punish Saxry, but luckily Saxry had enough in the tank that he could just set up a massive lurker field here. Very, very good use of Saxry to identify that he needed to let off the gas pedal at that precise moment, because if he kept going for any longer and then tried to stop, he wouldn't have had enough forces left over to set up to deal with any kind of counters that Best threw his way. Now trying to take the 6 o'clock finally again, but there is another force coming down here to deny that potentially. Does catch 2 of these Archons at 12 o'clock though. These are great pickoffs for Saxry. These Archons are so good in isolation. If you can pick them off, it feels so good as a Zerg player. Once they like completely stacked up in a massive army, they're really devastating.
Denial on the 6 o'clock once again. Best is starting to hammer these different areas and prevent them from being taken by Saxry. This is getting a little bit scary. If Best gets another base online, he's going to be able to extend this game for a long time, and his bases will be very close to the fresh expansions of Saxry. Unless he wants to take the middle of the map, maybe that's the call. Saxry could potentially take this middle.
Yeah.
And that will provide him a lot of gas. Not that many minerals, but it gives him a good amount of potential as this game goes into the very latest stages. These lurkers are going to be a little bit too stacked. He really needs to spread these out once again. Set up that really nice lurker field with a bunch of dark swarms covering it. He's pushing in towards this fresh base. Gets a beautiful plague on the zealots as well. The lurkers can't really push into this just yet. Best needs a little bit more time to gather some more resources to be able to break that position. This spot, though, is deadly. If he can hold that this area right out in front of the natural, Best is going to have a very hard time winning this game.
Yeah, I think so, Sam. But really, really well done from Saxry to come in there just before the cannons could get online, borrow those lurkers up against the mineral wall, and then flank it with a big wedge formation to get between the rally point. Now, though, the counterattack from Best getting on top of this massive cluster of units. Just a few storms could be enough to spell disaster for Saxry, but they're a little bit out of position, not quite able to get in range quickly enough, and Saxry able to disperse his units so they don't just get absolutely gobbled up. Did lose quite a large portion of them, but still looking pretty healthy in the supply deficit. So unfortunately for Best, I don't think he's going to be able to close out the game on Saxry anytime soon. And as far as things are going right now, it looks like Saxry's setting up to win this game. Just very slowly going to be grinding Best down to a nub over these next few minutes if he can.
Saxry is going to take the middle. I'd love to see it. He's got this lurker set up here to... Oh, another great plague on these zealots. Gonna try and run in and just kill everything. A lot of these zealots are gonna end up dying. Great trade for Saxry, but takes out that critical position. Best is going to now be free to flow his army out onto the map, reinforce those positions. Where can he take a base, though? Maybe top center? Is that a possibility?
I mean, honestly, yes, but he probably will take top center. Like we see the probe coming up here now, but I'm not too sure what Saxry's game plan is going to be. There's no way that he can handle like Best counter-attacking multiple lanes at the same time. So I feel like it's up to Saxry here to deny this base from going up. He has to stop this Nexus going up.
Yeah, he has to keep that base in the center alive at the same time. The setup across this bridge is nasty. You don't want to be coming across that bridge anytime soon, I don't think, as Best. But as long as you can hold your side of the bridge and keep control over this top part, this top lane on the map, I think he could potentially hold this base. He's actually going to take a Nexus on the opposite side of these minerals, funnily enough. It is a mineral-only base, so it doesn't really matter that much. The minerals...
Right.
They're still good, but just the mining will be a little bit less efficient. He could use any sort of mining at this point, though. He doesn't care where he gets it from. just a little bit of mineral income is going to help Best stay in this game.
Yeah, he's also got quite a high probe saturation on very few bases, so even mining awkwardly, he'll still be able to get a pretty high yield. The continuous plagues are really going to chip away at him, but like I was saying a few moments ago, the counterattacks on these different lanes are going to be a big problem for Saxary. He might lose a lot of drones here. Does notice, though, does start to pull them away. If there was a storm with that army, he could have lost so many drones there, but unfortunately, Saxary was on top of things, saw the army coming in and was able to pull his way. Does deny the mining here, though, and this is really tough to come in here and deal with this as Zerg, though. This choke point is so frustrating, and they could attack from over the wall on top of your drones that are mining. So now Saxary's distracted with defending down here, and he's going to have to be worrying about Best breaking through on the northern threshold as well, but has denied Best from taking that gas expansion, which is critical. The gas income will be a problem for Best. He's making mainly Zealots, and against the that's a beautiful play, against mainly Lurkers, like Zealots are really poor, so I think maybe Saxary will win out on trades here.
Actually slowly grinding down Best, but Best has managed to hold another base. He doesn't have control over the opposite side of those minerals for now, but as long as Saxary doesn't send lurkers over there, he's going to keep mining away happily. 3-3 is done. No +3 attack upgrade on those lings just yet, but this is a desperate struggle. Both players really having a hard time putting out any units at this point because the bases are quickly mining out everywhere on both sides of the map. Saxary holding this middle. Will Best be able to break that? I highly doubt it. A Dark Templar making its way into a mineral line. This could be the help that Best needs to get himself back in this game to make things even once again. He's going to kill so many drones here, Shun. Every drone goes down.
That's 10 drones. This could be just the tempo swing that Best needs. Also, supply looking a bit in his favor now with those drones falling. If he can deny Saxary taking this base and then take it himself, Best will put himself into a great position, but still Saxary hasn't been denied from securing this foothold in the 12 o'clock. Looks like Best is going to try and rotate round, see if he can get on top of this clump of units at the rally point. Not able to do so, though. Saxary able to respond quickly enough. He wants to try and get a pounce attack where he can wedge into a position before Saxary can respond, get some preemptive storms and wreck Saxary that way, but not able to do so just yet. Saxary able to keep on top of things and keep things locked down on the periphery. Beautiful storm there, though, catching a lot of that clump of units. Exactly the kind of skirmishes that Best needs and is looking for here.
Yeah, he's got a supply lead for the first time for quite a while. Saxary, his income has been dwindling. He really needs that 12 o'clock to come online here soon. Mining in the middle of the map is not very efficient, but it is giving him a few very important resources. Just coming straight across this bridge is pretty insane. Best just gonna try to bust right through this. Is it possible? Can he actually break in?
I think he can.
Saxary has so many units coming in from different angles, but this Archon count cannot be denied. Not enough Hydras in this force to maybe cut these down.
This is wild, saying. Like, how is he making it look like his PVTs, where it looks like an unbreakable position, but he somehow still cracks it like a nut anyway? Big, massive gorilla arms just crushing through. There is a counterattack, though, here at this mineral only, which will be very frustrating to deal with. There's only cannons there, no Templar support, so those 3 lurkers will pay dividends and get the expansion completely cleaned up here, probably. But that's a big, devastating loss for Saxary as well. Down to 77 supply with no real income right now, besides 2 of these bases that aren't actually mining at 12 o'clock and this mineral only, so there's a gas expansion rather at the 12 position. It's really rough for Saxary.
Oh no, okay, he manages to get the drones to run away. He needs to send these drones up to 12 o'clock. There's a fresh base up there that Best hasn't been able to deny. This is his last hope in this game. Can he somehow hold on to that base in top center and destroy this Nexus? He gets the Nexus, which is massive, but there's still a little bit of mining for Best in top right. And he has an overwhelming army that could potentially just come up here and smash this base. I think that Best may have just done it there with that last push. Crazy that he busted right through that position. Absolutely insane.
Yeah. That was the point where basically he sealed the deal and was pretty much set up to win the game. Really wild stuff. He just barely had enough left over to crack through it and completely tempo swing the entire game. Really, really impressive stuff from Best. He's basically been on the back foot most of this game. Finally had like enough wind in his sails to start pummeling back at Saxory and did some pretty knockout damage as well. Just 58 supplied to 124. Victory is all but certain now for Best. He just needs to hold things down and not make any critical errors.
Gurge coming in and sniping off a few of these observers. Pretty annoying stuff for Best, as that means that he can no longer push through this position. Great plague there as well, softening up that army. This is a lot of lurkers to break through, so Best can't be too cavalier running into this army, but the force that he's managed to accumulate on that right-hand side, it can't be stopped. Saxory does not have enough to make that hold happen. He's got lurkers spread around the map a little bit. He needs to pull absolutely everything to this spot in order to hold on to this position. That is his last hope in this game. He's running some lings around. He's got a lurker over here, which could maybe kill off a few probes. Although, as the cannons finish up, he'll likely be able to save those. Double storm there, just getting rid of that. I don't see a way in.
This is rough. I mean, this actually just hasn't got enough churning to deal with this, though. Like, eventually he'll be out skirmished. There'll be so many storms coming out from Best that Saxory just can't do anything. Like, all the units will just die to spells at this point.
Yeah, he's been on 4 gases for a little bit too long. Best has accumulated that resource and still has a bit of a bank behind it as well. So many Archons in this army. You need kind of an insane number of a Hydra Ling Lurker to stop a force like this. And with the storms in addition, I don't see it happening. Best is being a little bit tentative now. He's slowed things down quite a bit. He's not jumping the gun, but he's run out of resources. He has nothing left in the top right. He's only mining from this base, this mineral only, so he's got to make this last army count. Otherwise, he probably won't be able to remacro another one.
True, but inversely, Saxory also only mining from this 12 o'clock minerals. There's only gas left for these other expansions. So yeah, both players kind of like stagnating in their growth potential right now, which is why both of them are hesitating so much in trading. They know just how little they've got, but Best will still come out on top, obviously, given enough time, unless Saxory could somehow secure more at bases. 40 kills on some of these Archons. Absolutely wild. Saying.
40 kill Archon. Holy. That is insanity. These Archons have been kept alive for quite some time. They've certainly paid for themselves, and they're going to pay for themselves all over again as he pushes into this final stronghold of Zerg. There's just not enough lurkers, and Lings are missing. You can hear our Korean counterparts calling out the GG already. Best is definitely going to be able to take this one home. A great little Ling counter is nice and all. Shutting down at the mining over here, but 24 supply speaks for itself, Shun. This is just about it.
This is basically Saxory's like last frustrated hurrah. Like, I can't believe I let this game slip through my fingers, you know, and then he finally taps out. Unbelievable game from Best. I think a lot of other Protoss players would have gotten frustrated and would have found a way of losing that game. Whereas Best is one of the few Protosses where I have to say he's a little bit of a comeback king in PvZ. I've seen it with him a lot. There's somehow, you can almost guarantee counting him out and he'll still somehow manage to thread the needle and find a way of getting a game-winning condition. I have to say it, he's not necessarily the best PvZ players, but he's one of the best comeback kings in PvZ.
Very cool game. I think that might go in the folder.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna freshen my tea here. I'll be right back.
All right, bro. You back here, son?
All right. We're back.
Yo.
Yo. So, Saxory is gone. Let's go.
Let's go.
With Saxory gone, each team has lost a single player. We're all tied up right now with Light and Best going at it next on Pantheon. This should be an explosive match. Although, I don't know if we can match the excitement of that last game. That was a very fun PvZ.
Yeah, that was a really fun PvZ, and really impressive stuff from Best to make it that exciting as well. The comeback kid, the comeback wonder as far as PvZ is concerned. I can't believe he manages to do that. It's wild stuff. But yeah, Best versus Light on this map. Probably should see some kind of sparks flying, but I doubt we'll see the kind of tug of war we saw in that last game. So probably a little bit easier to navigate of a game than we had to deal with on that craziness on Minstrel. So I'm looking forward to this one, Sam. We could see some very strong TVP here.
Man, Minstrel has put out some great games. There's just been so much fun that we've had casting games on Minstrel. I'm really impressed with the map makers and their ability to renovate new maps for the, for 2024 two-player maps. Like that's got to be tough, right? Like we've seen some duds in the past. I would say Neo Dark Origin probably a dud. There's been a few duds out there, but that's certainly not the case.
Yeah, I mean, luckily we've got a few maps which have just been able to provide such spectacular games. I've actually kind of been happily surprised that Monty Hall has been so successful in its comeback. Not a map I would have thought we would have seen return to the scene, but really happy with what it's done for the meta, actually, and the kind of interesting games we see on there. I think it's definitely a net gain to have that in the map pool.
For sure, and I think it's clear that despite it being a very old, very old map, there's still a lot to be learned about how to play all different matchups there, especially PvZ. PvZ has seen a lot of innovation. PvP is pretty funny on that map as well. By the way, I made a cast recently about a 20+ minute PvP. I'm going to put that out tomorrow, but it gets pretty weird on Monty Hall, that's for sure.
Yeah, I really do like that there's at least one wild card map in the pool to give you those interesting games. I think that the game needs it both in terms of spiciness from the viewer's perspective, but also like to challenge the players into tackling like the more nuanced ways of playing the game, and they require a different kind of thinking cap to navigate. Nothing too crazy from either players in this game, it seems, though, saying like both players pretty much just doing the standard mid-range way of approaching this early game here. No real crazy greediness or aggression coming out from either side.
Yeah, just a standard 1 goon expansion, looks like, from Baz. He's got 1 in production. I think he opted for a 19 or a 20 Nexus, which was a little bit early. So going for that Nexus a little bit aggressively, Light is going to build his command center on in his main base. I was going to say on high ground. There's no high ground on this map, though. In his main, why do you think he decided to go for such a defensive command center here? Is he trying to fake out Best, maybe? Try to make him feel like there's no CC?
This is the weird thing about it, because on the one hand you would say, oh, he's just making the safe to be safe, but there is the argument to be made that, hang on a minute, he wants to obfuscate the build order and actually kind of fake aggression and make it seem like he's being aggressive when really just expanding. Honestly, I think this would probably be more of the former rather than the latter. Obviously, he can take the advantage of both in this situation and make it seem like he's being aggressive when actually he's just expanding. But honestly, I think he was a little bit cautious as well. I think both of those have gone into the calculation here.
Is that a Dragoon in the top right-hand corner? Best has only got 1 Dragoon back at home, and he's scouting the map with his first Dragoon, second Dragoon going to be waiting at home. Yeah. He did go for range, so it's not like he went rangeless into Robo, super greedy build. He's going to have some Dragoons to fight, and he will have range soon. He's also got the second gateway finishing up, and the Dragoon coming from behind is pretty big. That's going to put a lot of damage onto that tank. And the probes are doing a fantastic job of chasing down this army. He cleans everything up. But there are still vultures here in the mix. Going to start to pick off a few of these probes on the retreat. I think this is an excellent hold, though, from Best overall. Wow, getting a lot of probes with these vultures, though.
This is crazy.
That was quite a bit of damage.
It's such a beautiful hold from Best, but also really beautiful from Light to get the compensation with the vultures anyway. So loses the tank, loses the entire assault, but still manages to get the probe kills to find the compensation to make the most of those trades. This is a little bit annoying, though, for Light, not being able to set up mines here on this little cross point and to delay the third base going down is a huge problem. This is a very, very on curve third base coming out of Best, and Light has been able to do nothing to stop that. Might be able to catch this probe on the return, but that's about it.
Yeah, he gets one more probe, but like you said, a well-timed third base is the compensation that Best gets for stopping this attack early on. This poke and prod from Light handled successfully. Now he has a really nice timing for his third, and his economy is going to be banging this game. Light just has to sit back, build a bunker, set up some turrets, and prepare for what comes next, whereas Best is just going to be exploding in terms of production.
This is looking pretty good for Best, yeah. I'm a little bit concerned for Light. I don't really see any easy options for Light as well. I imagine he'll probably consider going into like an early 3 factory here and then try and scale up from there. Maybe a 4 into 5, take a third. I'm not too sure about this from Light, though. I don't think he's going to find anything anytime soon to really punish what Best has done here. I feel like Best is just going to go forward with an edge.
Yeah, Best has the observer in the main base, and if he keeps watching this main and he sees any sign that Light is going to go for a third, I think Best can just take multiple bases in the bottom right-hand corner and accelerate this game into a position that he's going to have such a massive army. Light just won't be able to handle it, and we'll see Best in his full ape-like form just smashing down the barriers, and Light is going to have a very hard time defending a third base if that's the case.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter how much you stack up against Best. He still somehow manages to get through there with his King Kong strength. I don't know how he does it. Like, I've seen Terran positions that look completely unbreakable, and he still just manages to just clean through it like a scythe through wheat. I just don't understand how he's able to execute those busts, but he manages to figure it out. Props to him. We may see something like that here as well. If Light is just going to turtle and stay on 2 bases, like, Best will bring the pain to him eventually. Like, Best is happy to crack open even positions that other pros wouldn't even dare attack.
Well, look at that. Quite a few factories being set up for Light. 5 factory thus far, 6 maybe shortly behind this. I think that Light is going to try and end this game, and I'm not sure it'll be successful against Best, who's already throwing down gateways, and he's about to grab his 4th as well. Actually, he might delay that 4th base. He's got the probe over there, but because he's seen the number of factories that are getting set up, yeah, he might just hold off on that. Get a big army together to try and fight this back, and it should be a successful hold if, Best, his previous historical performance is any indicator. Wait, what do we got there in the top right? Looks like a starport. Oh, wow. Light is going to go 6 fact, but he's not going to attack, I don't think. With the starport, I mean, eventually he's going to want him to try to get into +2. It seems like he just feels that he needs 6 factory to get his 3rd base.
It's Best after all, so I mean, I would as well if I was like, I'd want 6 factories before taking my 3rd base, and I would not feel safe at all, especially with the early 3rd from Best. He is going up into 8 gateway productions. There's 8 gateways to 5 factories, maybe 6 eventually. So in terms of production, like, Best is still able to keep up with Light, but Light will outscale him on this count for a while. The only issue is now we also see a very early 4th base coming out from Best as well. So Best will in long term be very much further ahead on the economic curve than Light will be, even if Light is able to trade well later on. But it doesn't matter. Like, if Best can deny this 3rd base coming down, it's going to be all she wrote for Light. And that's kind of what Best is waiting for. He's waiting for Light to just move out of position just 1 or 2 times, and then he's going to, like, you know, get a tactical, like, sledgehammer effect where he just comes in and clears everything up. But until that time, it looks like Best is just content to just macro up like a madman.
He's got a massive supply lead and a good position surrounding this tank army. Light, it looks like he wants to take the mineral only as his 3rd, but that mineral only is insanely far away from your natural. It's such a long distance to cover. There's the command center coming down. A dropship is going to be out on the map to try and bully Best a little bit, try to get some damage going on Best's side of the map, but he's already got cannons up. He's already got a good Sim City in his main. I doubt this will do a whole lot unless he brings tanks in this.
Right.
And tries to set up and snipe down some probes. It's unlikely that vultures are going to get the job done.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping he can find something, because he definitely needs something. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna be in the cards. Saying I think he's just got vultures in this dropship. I don't think he's gonna get a lot done with them. Yeah, just pure vulture, not gonna get a lot done.
Zealots, obviously not the best counter to these vultures, and he's gonna do the best that he can to trade with that dropship. Picks up and bails out. Got some vultures down towards the bottom right as well, so he's slowing down slightly the expansion of Best, but eventually Best is going to get a probe down into that bottom right and take another base. Light is just setting up for this 3rd now. We're past the 11-minute mark. It's now 12 minutes in,
It's crazy.
and Light still doesn't have that 3rd base set up. Yeah, it's crazy. It's so far behind, but you really do have to just slow down when you're playing as Light. You cannot get greedy.
Right.
You cannot push out too
Oh,
quickly.
I agree, yeah.
You just have to accept the fact that you're going to be behind the curve and live with it. Otherwise, Best will just ball you up and throw you over his shoulder into the waste bin. Let's see if he can do it here now. Running forward with a ton of Zealots, going to eat a lot of these mines. Here comes that shuttle as well. This is a very good setup here from Light. He's got so many tanks split up. Those are great storms on the left-hand side, but the Zealot number is insane. Look at how many Zealots are coming through behind this fold. He's hardly got that. Like, there's hardly any Dragoons here, but the Zealot number is insane. He just runs them over.
Yeah, he always finds, like, the critical apex in his timings where it's like, I've got a massive standing army and I've got a massive rally of Zealots that are coming up on the map, and I'm going to synchronize both together, and it just hits you like a massive 1-2 punch that you just can't do anything about. It doesn't matter how many tanks you've got, how spread they are, in what formation, what configuration, doesn't matter what set pieces you've got, he will still come in and he will still demolish you, saying.
The tactical sledgehammer, I think you said it best earlier on in the cast, Shun.
Yeah.
Smashing down the door of Light's base and breaking him into little pieces. Damn, it's impressive. Best is putting on a great show for us tonight.
Ooh, I need to take a slash. That was a good game. Really impressive, Best, man.
Yeah. Absolutely. This guy's killing it. Ooh. How's it going, chat?
Alright, I'm back.
All right.
선수라든지 김경모 선수라든지 나와가지고 가티어들을 또 테란들을 잡아냈던 그 경기들이 저 기억에 아직도 나거든요. 그런 또 경험들이 있어서 참 이게 또 점프로 게이머들에게
Okay, Best is slaughtering tonight, and the next head on the chopping block is Gameo, spawning in the top left-hand corner. We're on Deja Vu with Best in a vertical spawn. Do you think Gameo can stop the rampage of Best here tonight? I feel like he's just gonna tear through everybody.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like Best is just gonna smash him. But I mean, I want to be wrong though. I actually do want Gameo to put a good game out here. Gameo needs to put out a good game, that's for sure. Well, whether or not he will, though, I don't know. Best is probably feeling like a monster right now, and at Best feeling confident is a scary thing indeed.
Yeah, Best. I mean, when he's on fire, when he is on the top of his game, there's just about nobody's scarier. Especially Terran players need to shake in their boots.
I mean, they're gonna
when
be
they
born
see
for
this
boots.
guy coming. When they see this guy coming, you've got to be covering your, covering up, got to get your dukes up as soon as you see this guy coming. He's ready to swing.
You need like
Gameo
a mech
looking
suit or something, man. I don't know what you need. You need like from Aliens. You need that like, little the loader mech, like Ridley uses.
Oh yeah.
You need like something like that, right?
They need an exosuit.
Yeah.
Well, Gameo doesn't have an exosuit, but he's got a natural. He's got a few lings in production as well. And there's no cannon yet. Okay. He's going to drop that cannon just before the lings pop out. And that should be enough time for that to finish. I don't think he'll be taking any damage to some early lings. How many were produced by Gameo? Just a single pair, so
yeah.
Wasn't like he was planning to go and do anything across the map. Instead, just chasing down this probe while getting his third base.
Yeah, usually if they want to be aggressive, you'll see 6. If they want to be very passive, they'll make 2. Sometimes you'll see 4 if they want to kill the probe scout, so they can deny, so that they can say maybe go into like a 3-hatch Hydra or what have you, and like kind of disguise what they want to go for. You'll see at least 4 usually being made, especially if they don't drone scout. Players like Zealot, for example, they never drone scout in this matchup, so they'll always make 4 Zerglings to compensate.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the 4 ling play. I like getting rid of that probe early, and like I was talking about earlier, you can't kill a pylon block with only 2 lings. It's not going to work. So that pylon block can be endlessly blocking you. It just blocks you forever. So I like the 4 lings. Kill this probe, chase it away, make sure that we've got Best in the dark. If we're gonna beat Best, we gotta trick him a little bit, I think. Right. When he's on fire like this, it's scary, man. You got to do something sneaky, and Gameo's going to pull out what appears to be a 973, although it could be some variation on that.
Right, and there's so many variations that this might not be a very committed 973 at all. Could even maybe see only like 7 Hydralisks made total, but we might also see a very all-in 3-hatch Hydra here to just try and crush Best and hope for the best, pun intended. If he needs to catch this probe, though, Best has done a very good job of keeping this probe alive. If he does somehow snake this probe back around and get into the main base and identify that this is going to be a 3-hatch Hydra play, does allow him to really calculate and min-max his build to perfection to make sure everything's timed out perfectly, so he only makes the bare minimal amount of cannons and all that sort of stuff. So who knows, man? I don't know. I feel like I feel like Best is probably going to be able to figure this out, but who knows? Maybe he can kill this probe scout.
It's good that Gameo had a couple more lings bopping so that he could block that ramp. You never want to allow this probe into your main. As soon as Protoss knows about this, the value of the Hydralisk bust is diminished massively. He went for ling speed, so this is the variation that Gameo's chosen. Going for ling speed, he's going to be able to kill the probe and deny it the scouting information. He sees a lot of drones in the natural, but he hasn't seen the number over at the third. Looks like 3 with a 4th making its way over there, so it's not a full-on 973. Instead, we're going to have a little bit more income rolling for Gameo as he starts this aggression. And he may be throwing down a 4th hatch as this is going on.
Bottom is very exposed as well to being shot down from range. We're only 4 Hydras currently finished and in position. A few more additional Hydras arriving, so for a total of 8 with 6 lings supporting. Can do enough here to just bust through. The timings are pretty much critical here for Gameo. He will be able to kill at least one of these cannons for sure. Buffering against the Zealots with the Zerglings here. Does manage to kill one of those Zealots as well. Takes away a lot of the tanking potential while going to town on this bottom pylon to see if he can start chipping away at this wall and making additional Hydras behind this. No probes, there's no drones in sight, it looks like, so it will be a full-on committal, at least for the time being.
Yeah, more Hydras coming up is a little bit intense. He does finish range and will go to work on this Forge. Looks like he will get it, and that upgrade has to be cancelled. This is very nice play from Gameo. I like the position on that frontal cannon. Okay, he's going to pick that off again so he can get the gateway. Yeah, just get the gateway, pick off this wall, deny the upgrade, and now Gameo can start to drone once again. And with that 4th hash on the way, like we were talking about earlier, it's not completely all in. He's got a pretty decent, method and route out of this early aggression, and I really do feel Gameo's position right now. It's looking quite good.
Yeah, honestly, like, this is exactly what I was wanting to be wrong about. I wanted to see a very strong game out of Gameo, regardless of whether or not he won or lost, and we're getting that. We're seeing probably Gameo at his best, so there's no nerves really shining through from Gameo. He's just come out here and playing an A game at the moment, and I'm really respecting him for it. He's putting on a good show against Best and giving him a big run for his money, going into more and more additional cannons. Not too crazy, though, just like 6 cannons here, which is probably about the safe amount. You don't want to make too many, but you want to make just barely enough that he can't just bowl you over, even though you've got some Zealots to tank while you transition into the double forge in the main base and get your Templar archives out. It will be about 8 minutes 30 until he's even making those Templars. So, I mean, there's a lot of
this
Hydras.
is a Templar pre-storm timing. He's going to try and hit this, and I think that Best has called it. I think he knows. He's built these extra cannons. He's continuing to build cannons. He's got the perfect counter. Gameo, it's gonna be tough here. He's gonna pull the trigger. That is so many Zealots in the front. The probes are there as well. Just buffering for these cannons is good enough. Gameo's still making Hydras behind this. The transition, it appeared to be underway, but it's not the case. He's just gonna go for this, trying to break through. That's so many probes that are going down in the front, but the cannons are still hanging strong.
Wow,
a few more finish warping in the back.
Yeah, beautiful screening with the probes to try and deny some area from the Hydras, but now they're in a good enough firing position. He was trying to deny space for the Hydras to get a platform to be able to kill these cannons to begin with. There's still 3 cannons left. The Templar Archives hasn't yet finished that upgrade for Storm, so he's got the Templars just finishing up now. Storm will be ready in a few moments, but he's got another 10, 15, 20 seconds until the upgrade finishes and energy's ready. There's a timing to come in here and start killing these final few cannons. The probes desperately trying to deny space on that. 2 cannons now remaining. Every probe is being called to duty right now to try and prevent these base from being busted. It doesn't look like it's going to happen, though. Both cannons going down. Storm is now ready, but it's probably too little too late. Does manage to blanket over most of the Hydralisk, but there's still enough left over. About half a dozen or so Hydras with additional coming in for a total of 10 or so. We'll be able to come in here and kill all of these probes before the Archons have morphed. This is devastating and the critical timing from Game. I think he's just barely done damage enough to Best to come through.
Yeah, this was a really intense moment. Best had the right number of cannons, I think. He just wasn't building cannons as the attack was coming in, and yeah, Gamo microed that insanely well. The way that he was jumping back and forth and picking off all of those zealots without taking too much damage from the cannons. Now that last storm comes in. Best, can he actually hold? I don't think so. 9 kills on this Archon, but it will be focused and targeted down in the end. There's not enough money, really, to keep this going. DT pops out. Hold up. 3 DTs in the mix. There's no Overlord. He's going to focus down some probes, but he's losing all of his Hydras. He goes for the Templar. That is a big pick.
Yeah.
Killing off that Templar is very annoying, but actually, Best is going to hold. That is insane. Absolutely insane.
Well,
he's still alive.
Remember what we said before. Best is like the comeback king. You never want to count this guy out. It's almost like he does this on purpose. Like he puts himself into bad situations because he has fun playing from behind and he likes to come back and get surprise wins. It's almost like he does this by some kind of weird engineering, like of his own making. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see if he can somehow turn this into a win. It'll be quite miraculous. There is an Overlord here at this point defense to deny entry to the natural, but the third base is undefended, saying the drones are being evacuated, though luckily does manage to save those. But this is a denial of mining right now while losing Hydras trying to get across the map. Maybe somehow Best can navigate this into a victory.
Oh, he's going to lose all the DTs. How many cannons does he have at his natural, and how many storms does he have as well? That's the big question.
Not enough.
But a few zealots are available, and +1/1 should be done. No storm energy available, but Gamo doesn't know that, and so he's being a little bit careful with how he jumps forward. He does get on top of that Templar. There's potentially one storm. No storms available. Oh, both the Templar get taken down, but the cannons finally finish warping in. There's 2 zealots. 4 cannons. Is it going to be enough, Shun? It's so close.
It's so close. With the probe screening, it's just barely enough. No. He needs to keep blocking with the probes. He can't let any Hydras get surface area like this. He's going to kill another additional cannon. He needs to be a little bit more forward thinking with the positioning of these probes. You have to move into position as the Hydras do, or you quite make it. Unfortunately, there's enough Hydras here that I think he's going to be able to bully this down now. He needed that third cannon so critically. The other cannons are now going to start to warp in, but it might just be too little too late. The probes, though, doing such a great job of buying time. There's another High Templar out there that's so precious, like gold dust, saying 60 energy on that, though. Another 10-15 seconds until he can storm. Beautiful screening of these probes, but he's barely holding on by a thread now. Additional cannons being killed as they're warped in. There is a critical timing here. Gamer, though, mining on 2 bases, only just barely able to churn out 3 hatchery worth of Hydra to finish the job, but he might have just barely been able to do so. Final cannon goes down. There is still one warping, but now there's like 4 High Templars trying to get their energy. It's like a game of roulette. Who can get their energy first? Unofficially unbelievable, saying unable to deny the space on these Hydras, though. They will kill this cannon yet again. Dark Templar going to be getting into the main base, though.
That Dark Templar's done so much work. It killed both the hatcheries at the 3rd base, so this is all in from Gamo. He's got no other choice but to win the game right here, right now. Probe's still off the line. This DT in the main has 10 kills, and it's killing more. As Gamo's trying to push in, he's going to lose the last of his Hydras. I can't believe it.
Oh my God.
Best wins the game. What?
What do we see? I told you he does it. It's like he does it on purpose.
Oh my gosh, just about killed KCM. He's falling out of his chair.
It's like he does it on purpose. I can't believe this kid, man. He's too much.
No.
Oh my God, he's too much to handle, man.
Unbelievable. Best.
Oh my
How
God.
the hell did he make that work?
Oh, it's so crazy. I can't even begin to explain to you how crazy that is. Oh my God.
Best was down to 1 cannon several times during those fights. He had almost nothing left. We were fighting with probes for the majority of that game.
Oh, the probe screening was so elite. It was so good. Oh my God, I've never seen anything quite like it. Oh,
that's going in the folder for sure. That was an insane hold. One of the best I've ever seen. One of the closest I've ever seen.
It's actually taking my breath away. It's crazy. Oh my
Gamo's gotta be feeling frustrated after that one, man. He had that game in the bag, or so it seemed. Best, though, with the clutch hold with the DT, and of course, getting across the map. How on earth do you allow a single DT to kill both hatcheries at the third base? Like how much time does that take? It takes
he's so
several minutes.
He's so convinced that he's done enough damage to bust through. He's like, okay, surely I don't need this third base to finish the job. Surely I've done enough damage. I've killed so many fucking cannons, surely enough probes. And Best is always just barely threading the needle. I don't know how he does it. How does he make the stars align like that to come back? But he's almost like he's doing it on purpose. It's almost like he's playing a game, like he's like a Jigsaw from the Saw series or something, you know, like creating weird scenarios where he doesn't really care about his own survivability. He just cares about making an interesting game for you to figure out.
I would love to see how many probes were left in Best Main, because I think he pulled the majority of them to the natural.
He did.
A lot of them came out to the natural to fight.
Yeah,
and that was really the linchpin of the defense.
Well, a lot of the times he had probes like the first initial cannon bust attempt, he had probes preemptive for the drill. Everything was pretty well defended there from Best. If he had defended any worse, he would have been smashed into pieces. It's only because he was so tactical in his initial defenses that gave him just barely enough of an edge to not die outright. So really crazy, honestly, that Game Mode couldn't get the job done there. Like, most Protoss players are dead in that situation. Really fucking crazy stuff.
The types of games where you end and you're like, hands are shaking afterwards.
Yeah, honestly.
Oh my gosh.
That game is so crazy. It's like Best is doing it on purpose. Like he's trying to get into those situations like he wants them, you know?
That would be pretty insane if that's the case. Dude, we're getting so close to this you know, tie. It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Are we gonna get denied at the last moment? Is Speed or Jadon gonna carry?
No. But Zerg has to get last place. So
right.
So Speed would have to
win.
It can't happen. It can't happen anymore. No, because Speed would have to win, and then Protoss can't
beat Jadon.
Wait, no, hang on, no. Wait, Speed has to win. Then it has to be Snow. Sorry, then it has to be Snow beating Jadon. Then it still doesn't work, right? It doesn't work. He can't win, possibly. No, there's no way.
If Speed wins, then Speed plays Jadong. And then if Speed beats Jadong, and then Snow beats Speed, then it works.
Okay.
Yeah, because Snow wouldn't play until the last game.
Yeah, I'm like way too high to calculate that right now. I'll just be honest.
Fair enough. There's one chance. There's one shot that we could see it.
Okay.
But as long as Best beats Speed here, we can't have a... Yeah, we won't have one. Alright. Speed versus Best. Man, oh man. We've had some intense games today, but Speed... I'm sure we're gonna get another intense one from him. I can already feel it. Shun.
Yeah.
I was doubting the Game-O versus Best set. I didn't think it was gonna be as intense, but there it is. Just absolutely insane.
You never know what you're going to get in KCM, and honestly, somehow the games do seem to be more intense than SSL. It must be something to do about the preparation thing, right? Like you just don't have as much preparation time for the games. Everything is in a flow state. It's all about the ebb and flow at that point, and you know this is just pure Starcraft. At that, then there's not much metagaming going on, and then we can really play. It's like poker when you're not able to think straight and everyone's on tilt. It's like now we're really playing.
I don't know how Best kept it together in that last game. Just insane. I guess you gotta think the number of Hydra busts that a player the caliber of Best has held over his career. That might have been one of the closest ones he's ever held, guys. Not a joke. Like, there's like probably a list in the back of his mind, like all the different types of Hydra busts and the close holds that he's had in the past. That one was insane.
Maybe that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to hit like a personal best, no pun intended, of like how close can we come to dying while still winning? You know what I mean? He's trying to create that situation of like, no one can do it like me, man.
Well, he's not interested in creating that situation in PvT so far anyway. Last game against Light, he just absolutely crushed. Let's see if he can do the same thing against Speed now, who is opening a very normal build. This time Best decided to open with a Zealot. He's going to press in, try to potentially cause some harassment damage to Speed. But it's unlikely he'll be able to do much with just one Zealot and this many Marines on the field. Vulture going to come out in a moment. Speed is looking fine here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with
and he will be able to get this high ground taken.
Yeah, with the full
just a moment.
contingencies of Marines, he'll definitely be able to, you know, there's way enough tankiness in this army to do so. If there was only like if there's like 3 Marines, you'd be a little bit worried here. But four Marines and a Vulture and an SCV, like you bully this back all day, every day, especially about the range on that Dragoon early on. So doesn't able to get that SCV into Scout though a little bit. He's going to go for the turnaround now, assuming that the Dragoon is going to be coming to the front here, so we'll be able to maybe get a check on what's what now.
Five Marines, 1 Vulture versus a Zealot and 2 Dragoons. He's going to focus the Zealot first. Picks that off right away. Puts quite a bit of good damage onto this 1 Dragoon. Will pick it off, in fact, but I don't think he can win the fight in the end. This Dragoon is going to take the day, so may be able to stop this command center from coming up. Speed getting a little bit greedy, not going for a bunker. But, I mean, he doesn't really get punished that hard here, except for forcing some SCVs off the line.
This is the beauty of Starcraft, is you're playing like games within games. Like you get so good at the game that you have to play these tiny little skirmishes, and both players know each other so well, and they've got everything mapped out just perfectly that they know where the critical damage will be done. So they'll know if there's if I can come in here and win this one little tactical fight, then I've got a tiny little advantage of having 1 Dragoon more than you, or whatever the situation is. Beautiful laid mines here. We'll be able to catch this Dragoon, and this other Dragoon is a danger of dying as well, saying this is beautiful play from Speed. He's really been on top of things lately. This other Dragoon's gonna get eaten up as well. Absolutely stellar stuff for him. This is beautiful execution.
He's gonna do so much damage. My god, so many probes are gonna go down. And he's controlling the high ground with mines, flipping past these probes that were pulled off the line to try and surround. And behind the mineral patches, you're never gonna get a good surround with those probes. Excellently done. Keeping these Vultures alive for a really long time. 1 Vulture did end up going down to those probes, but he's just done so much damage. This is almost critical damage already.
Yeah, I mean, he killed so many Dragoons and so many probes on top of that. I mean, his 22 supply to 40, it's absolutely insane. Unheard of levels of damage. And usually you only see this amount of damage when the Dragoons are out of position. But he just killed the Dragoons with the Vultures of very very tactically timed mines and very beautiful execution. And he's using the shift hold technique on laying down those mines as well, just to get the Vulture to slide off of them just that little bit quicker, so that he can execute things as tightly as possible. Everything is as frame perfect as possible with the inputs on Speed's Vulture control. Very impressive stuff.
It's been beautiful to watch Speed evolve and grow over these last couple of years. He has become such a monster in this matchup and in TVZ. In TVZ, I would say even more scary of a monster. So it's so impressive, so awesome to see him grow. This game is just about over, guys. There's still a glimmer of hope for Best because of his performance so far today. I can't count him out, But this is about as bad as it gets in the early game.
Yeah.
Or PvT.
And honestly, like, TVP is not like PvZ yet. There's not as much comeback potential for the Protoss in this matchup. When Terran is big and beefy and they can just move you down without even really needing to like tactically siege anymore, there's not really a lot you can do as Protoss. It gets kind of scary, you know? Like, you don't kind of have the same tempo swing. The Terran isn't as brittle as the Zerg. His units don't just die in like 2 seconds under Storm anymore.
Yeah, and you're not going to be able to get Storm in this position anyway. 4 factory timing now from Speed. He smells the blood in the water, and he is hungry for it. He's going to come across this map like a shark looking for that kill. 5 factories finishing up now, and Bess is he's just not ready. There's no way he can be ready. Even if he, only builds units and puts down a whole bunch of gateways, how is he possibly going to hold this attack? It's a great stop on those vultures, not allowing them to slip by and lay mines behind this or deal any probe damage at this critical moment, but there's just so many units. He's going to run right up on top of this, start to throw down mines. Vultures run by into the main base once again. Jumping on top of a tank, though. He will get one. No! Oh, gosh. He had 4 goons hitting there, and he hit it twice, so I'm surprised it didn't go down, but now the goons are going to get milked.
He did get it. No, he did get that tank.
He got it in the end.
There's 2 tanks dead already now. But the Vulture in the main is doing a little bit of a nightmare situation. He can't quite catch the Vulture. He does manage to get the Vulture surround, but the other mine connects with the Dragoons. We can lose a few additional probes with some good target firing there. Really well done from Speed, finding like what little drips and drabs he can get out of the orange, despite already squeezing most of the juice out. It's crazy the cost efficiency that he's getting from these small amounts of units. Now body blocking these Dragoons off, cutting them off from retreat. Going to be forcing out a very quick GG out of Best with these tactical assaults. Speed is just so good in that early game. You can see why he used to go by the ID 10-minute flash. Absolutely insane stuff.
All right, Best is out.
Now we got Freeway.
See, now you should be able to see how we could get that final result.
Yeah.
If Speed wins this.
Yeah. I was just like really, I was just feeling really high and I couldn't like mentally picture it.
That's all becoming clear now. All right. Keep it going.
Yeah, man.
3대 0대 3으로 좀 알고 있거든요. 2대 0대 2 아니면 0대 3으로 알고 있는데 좀 많이 지고 있어서 이용 선수가 좀
Best, the king has been dethroned. That was quite the run in this week of KCM, but it's over now. Speed is on a rampage. He's going to go up against Jaedong next, starting in 8 racks out in the front. It is a cross-map situation, though, so this is about as good as it gets for Jaedong.
Yeah. I mean, this is ideal. It kind of sucks, honestly, going for 8 racks cross-map Radiant. You're not really going to do a whole lot with it. It's just going to be defensive, so... I mean, in a way, it's not the worst ends of... I guess, Terran players are pretty good at optimizing their transitions without committing to the 8 racks too heavily. But, yeah, it's a pain. Like, going up against a 12 hatchery and you're doing an 8 racks that probably will not do anything is a little bit of a tough nut to swallow here for Speed.
So, Speed, will he be throwing down a gas after this? One thing I've seen from him a lot, and I think it's quite strong, is him going for mech after an 8 racks. Like, he'll get into a factory, start to put out some vultures, and then he goes right on into mech, and he is so good with vultures, just like we saw in that last game. Getting in and killing drones, it seems like he is almost always capable of making that damage happen, and it looks like no gas for Speed so far. It'll just be Marines coming across the map. He actually lifted and relocated the barracks, though, so realizing that it's cross map, he's not going to try too hard to get damage here, just resting on that barracks production and getting ready to take his own CC behind this.
Yeah, he just needs to force drones to stop mining and whatnot, because if he doesn't, then obviously he's not really getting any compensation for the 8 racks. Needs to be careful, and he loses the Marine. Oh, he's gonna lose the Marine. Pretty good drill from Jaedong there. Manages to catch that. Yeah, he basically needs to force the drones to come off the line to slow down the Zerg to compensate for the fact that he's gone for this 8 racks to begin with. So he has to still initiate some kind of assault to force a response. If he doesn't, then Jaedong's just way too far ahead. Unfortunately for speed, though, not really coming out on top in any regard there, and loses a little bit for his efforts, but manages to get a decent drone pullage from Jaedong. He did respect that pretty hard there, and not every drone that he could have pulled was pulled, but a pretty mid-range amount of drones were pulled, so overall got some compensation despite the early lead for Jaedong still.
Yeah, no kills on any of those drones means that the 8 racks not very effective. Jaedong chasing this SCV around, may not see a bunch of Marines that are moving out on the map. He does see this Wallen, and the fact that there's nothing here for speed should tip the hand a little bit to Jaedong that there might be something coming his way, and he should build a few more Lings just to be ready for that. SCV's done a great job of staying alive. It's so low on that health, but it finally does get picked off in the end. He really wanted to see what was popping out of those eggs, of course.
Right.
In the end, he's not going to be able to. All Lings speed. If he goes back home right now, he might be in a really good spot.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine if he kept going with his Marines? He'd be so devastated. But yeah, if he can just get back to his wall, he might be in a phenomenal position. This might be the one thing that helps him claw back into this game. He just needs to plug up these 2 holes tightly here. If Jaedong gets any kind of value with these Lings, it's going to be a really bad spot for him, because he's going to have the Mutalisks coming up behind this as well. So if the Marine count can be dwindled down with these Zerglings, speed isn't going to be a happy chappy. But so far he's got good area denial, but with this Marine dies on the left hand side, there will become a funnel to come in. Gets the one on the right, does manage to slip the Lings in slightly though. Now gets his surround on these Marines. He's going to get a good enough trade with these Lings. It looks like this is unfortunate saying he is going to get the value with these Lings, and that means additional Zerglings suddenly become an even bigger threat.
This is such a commitment to Lings, though. He's really going to have to do well with the follow-up Mutalist play. Oh, he opens the right-hand side as well. Oh, the Lings are getting in here, but the Marine spread in between these SCVs is going to hold on pretty well. Well, let's see about the Spire follow-up.
I mean,
can he actually break this?
He's going to make 6 Mutas. He hasn't got any Marines.
No Marines. Barracks in the main base is being denied. You can slow down turrets with this one Ling.
He's got a medic.
There's
no
just
Marines.
one medic.
Are you kidding me? He's gonna heal the SCV though. It actually works. There's a way of making this work, Saiyan.
A Firebat comes out. That's all he's able to make right now. He cancels one of those barracks. I think that's a good choice. It's really important that he gets some turrets started. He doesn't have any turrets, Shun. None of his turrets started yet.
Yeah.
SCV goes down in the natural.
This is what I'm talking about.
And yeah, without any Marines. I thought he was going to build turrets a little bit faster, if I'm being honest.
I mean,
this is pretty late.
There is a world where he can still hold, but the problem is that the Mutalisks can navigate around the periphery of those turrets and just barely stay on the edge, come in and snipe SCVs that are building buildings, and just keep the Marine count down low. So even though you've got some turrets zoning out the Mutas, they can still get into the nooks and crannies and snipe off Marines popping out of barracks and whatnot. So yeah, a little bit of a problem still. Can come in here and deny mining from the south, like we can see here, and get on top of this academy and the 2 depots. So you can cover your bases with the turret placements, but the Mutas can still find damage.
He's going after that armory. It's getting quite low. Marines are going to come into this pocket, try to push this back, but like you were talking about, there's just not enough. Not enough Marines to fight this, and he's going to continue to harass the academy. He's found that one little nook that you were saying. I'm finally going to make a turret and push that back. But how are we looking on overall drone count? It's got to be very low for Jaedong.
Yeah. It'd be bare
Yeah,
minimum.
he barely
like
made
3
anything.
mining minerals in the natural and like 3 on gas. Like only barely enough to mine 2, but to make 2 hatchery worth of mutalisks, and a few surplus gas will slowly stack up.
He's coming back into this natural. Going to start to hit the periphery once again. Force the Marines into a reaction. Looking pretty good for Jaedong as he brashes this down. He's full 10 supply ahead. It's a little bit misleading because that's all in mutas, basically. That's a huge amount of mutas.
Yeah.
He's got like half of his supply is mutas right now, so it is a tad bit misleading. However, this is still a very scary army, and Speed has to take it super seriously. Continue to build turrets. You cannot stop building turrets here, no matter what.
It's a shame he missed the click on that barracks. If he didn't miss that volley earlier, he would have actually killed that barracks. It was down to sub 80 HP with 10 mutalisks. He would have killed that barracks had he not missed that volley. Unfortunately, it does give a little bit of life in the production for Speed. Now 4 barracks is churning away on bio. We'll eventually have enough biomass to fight the mutalisks off, but it will take a couple of minutes to reach that threshold. So it needs to buy as much time as possible. Starting to be shaved off some of his SCVs now. Jaedong looks like he wants to transition, taking the bottom right as his third base while killing SCVs right now. If he kills 6 to 8 SCVs, he's not even like he would usually be, but he will start to even the balance scales a little bit. But now being threatened by a counterattack by this Bioforce might catch some of the mutas in transit as well.
You really don't want to be losing this Marine force, though, out on the map. It'll make the transition for Jaedong so much easier. He's going to pull the trigger on a stim, try to track down these mutas. Good job keeping those reinforcements safe. But Jaedong's still going to be sharking around the outside, looking for any kills that he can find. More mutas have been made. There's the Hydralisk Den as well. The third base down in the bottom right-hand corner has finished. I'm not clear on whether Speed has seen that yet. He has his factory started, but he may not be aware. Okay, we got another scan. He's scanning top left. He's looking for bases.
Yeah.
He's not quite sure where this one's at just yet.
Yeah, I mean, there is a little bit of a meta shift in where players will take this third base. Sometimes they'll take it in the natural, sometimes they'll take it in the main, or sometimes they'll put it at a very weird location. So Speed doesn't really have any kind of clue on where this base should be, even though this is once upon a time a very traditional place to take it. It still be some time before Speed will be able to identify that. There's so many other positions that Jaedong would likely go for, especially to try and mind game Speed and where it would be. Unfortunately, he's not going to guess right for some time. Jaedong doing a pretty good job of shaving off the Bioforce, but with 4 medics and this much bio in the group, as long as he controls it well, the mutas shouldn't be able to shave off too much of this, and there shouldn't be a critical mass of mutaling to clean this bio up. He will have to rely on the transition into lurkers. I think there's one Hydra on the ramp, another one maybe on the way in the bottom right, so we'll have the bare minimum defense to not die straight up here. So it looks like Jaedong has just barely managed to transition.
The transition is here. That's still a lot of mutas back at home. It's tempting actually to just build a greater spire when you've got that many mutas and try to take advantage of it, but I don't think that's in the cards. Jaedong is just going to try and make this transition work. He's still ahead in supply, so he's looking very good, but there's going to be a moment when Speed takes the control of the map, and when Speed gets to that mid-game, things get broken. He is a crazy, crazy player, and he just constantly surprises me with his ability to break open Zerg players who are supposedly very well defended.
Yeah. It looks like Jaedong's going for like the meta player right now. Just 2 Sunkens with 3 lurkers borrowed besides them in the natural, and then a few lurkers for the ramp in the third base. So very standard defense here from Jaedong. Should more or less be unbreakable unless Speed can find some kind of threshold that Jaedong hasn't accounted for. If there is some kind of crazy insane mass that he can find, or get a defense matrix with this army to bust through, or maybe get some good irradiates. Defile amount only just now going down at 12 minutes, but you have to remember that the relative scale of the game has been shifted back because of the 8 racks, so Speed is at least 1 minute back back behind the normal schedule, and Jaedong's probably behind about 30-40 seconds as well because of the drone pool. So everything's a little bit behind schedule right now, which is why things won't quite line up. But the drop ships are already out, not quite getting spotted by Jaedong. If he can somehow get those out, it'd be crazy good. But with the mutas in this high number, it's almost suicide going for drop ships.
Well, if the mutas are in the main base, dealing damage, maybe he can go across the map and get a drop into Jaedong's main and flip this game on its head.
Right.
This is quite painful dealing with the damage going on in the main right now. But look at that. Overlord was in the group with the mutas. Catches the drops coming across the map. These must be loaded up already. They're going for the main directly. Scourge are coming up. But I think he's going to be able to drop everything, the entire payload into this main base, which is fantastic. He's going to deal a ton of damage here, Shun. This might be the comeback that he needs.
Oh, the Defiler's just exposed as well. Consume not quite done as well. So Mulis desperately trying to get a snipe on those dropships. Does manage to catch one of the two, but the Marines are already in position, going to work in the main base. Jaedong's going to pounce though. +1 Carapace on these Mutalisks. Give them just barely enough sustain to be able to whittle this force down to a nub. But now another drop coming down into the natural expansion. Luckily, there's some lurkers in position. Some of the drones going down, but good denial because of the preemptive lurkers being placed there. Jaedong kind of already seeing what's in the cards. Still only just barely cleaning these forces up, though. Loses so many Mutalisks to do so.
Wow, that was insane. So many mutas went down in that fight. And, dude, if Speed had lifted another... Like, if he had airlifted some supporting forces into that main, he would have rocked that group of mutas.
Yeah.
And completely won over the middle, the main base. Of course, lurkers may have been brought up to assist at that point, but... Dude, Speed has really taken the wind out of the sails for Jaedong. Jaedong is on the back foot completely. He's just trying to survive. And this is exactly where Speed likes to put his Zerg opponents. He wants you to be in this defensive position, so he's ready to bust you open.
Right, he's got the contain set up at the natural expansion now. We've got a tiny force going down to the bottom right. That's just to also contain down there and make sure Jaedong still commits defenses. That way it'll be much harder to flank and cause disruptions. It's like containing a virus right now. Like, the threat has been contained, and right now he's going to build a vaccine to eventually kill Jaedong, and Jaedong's got to find a way of navigating out of this, because eventually he will need a fourth gas and whatnot. So, but look at these additional dropships coming out. It looks like Speed wants to seal the deal and take it to Jaedong. We will have a bit of a defensive setup here by lurkers, anticipating a drop. He might not expect 4 dropships though, Sam.
Yeah, after picking off 2 dropships, it's it's a little bit surprising to see 4 heading in for another attack. Oh, going for kills on these science vessels, but he's not going to get them, and he's just throwing away Scourge right now. That would be very useful. Oh, he's going to go in. Oh! Ooh.
Okay.
Speed. Threading the needle. He's going in for the main base. This is so scary. That's so much bio going to be unloaded.
A lot of ships.
Scourge are ready. Oh, is he going to be able to kill any of the drops? Oh, none of the drops died.
Insane.
And he's right on top of these evolution chambers as well. I think Speed is going to do it here, Shun. This is crazy.
Wow, this is wild. Lurkers coming in from the low ground, but it's going to be too little, too late. They won't be able to get in and deny it. GG finally called. Speed has done it. It's going to be Speed versus Snow in the finals, saying it's absolutely crazy stuff. Zerg is going out. So now if Snow can beat Speed, we will have that tiebreaker. Come on.
이래서 확실히 스타는 아무리 좀 불리해도 끝까지 좀 해봐야 된다. 죄송합니다, 설레발. 네, 라는.
Ooh. What a week.
Damn, son.
How many comebacks, man?
Man, I need to get another drink and take a slash again. I'll be right back. Give me a minute.
Alright, me too.
Goddamn.
All right.
All right, man. Damn, it's been a wild week.
It has been insane, man.
I don't get it. I don't understand how like KCM always manages to be this crazy and unpredictable and explosive every single time almost.
It's wild. It really is.
It's beautiful, man. Honestly, better than SSL overall. In terms of raw, like, entertainment value.
Undoubtedly. Indubitably.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the finals, but this has been awesome.
Yeah.
All right, let's make it clap.
총체 2024년 시즌 4의 이제 진정한 마지막 경기가 약간의 목이 쉬면서 이게 다가왔습니다.
Our final match, Speed versus Snow on Minstrel.
네. 걱정하지 마시고요.
And we've gone over this already, but that
즐겨주시면 됩니다.
case,
여러분이 많이 추천돼
that edge case where we could potentially have a tie in the overall points from all of these weeks is one game away, Shun.
Yeah.
Just this one game. If Snow can take it home, we will have a tie, and we'll finally get to learn what happens when two races die.
I'm kind of scared to speak about it, saying I don't want to.
I know.
Oh man, but it is
Caster's Curse.
It's just Snow's best matchup. I mean, come on, like you want to perform anytime. It's a 1v1 map, PVT, your best matchup. Just gas steal him and style from there. Come on, Snow.
He is sending out that very early probe. Likely going to be gas stealing the Terran. And guys, as we're getting into this final game, I just want to remind you to go down to the description, click the first link, go like and comment KCM's video. Subscribe to his channel as well. I do appreciate it. By the way, there was some news this week that the ladies KCM has been canceled. There's going to be no longer a ladies KCM. Instead, they're going to replace it with a tier battle. The KCM tier battle. So like some of these lower ranked Korean pros are going to have an opportunity to show their stuff, show their skill, which I'm very excited to watch and to take a look at. Nice job with the probe getting up this ramp. Kind of insane that he managed to get by that, but at least Speed stopped it long enough to get his gas.
Speed is clowning on these Protosses, man. Like this is getting kind of. I'm getting chills. I'm getting chills. Like we might see the up and coming of a new kind of player, a new modern Terran that will revolutionize and like make all these other Terrans wake up a little bit and like get the fire lit up underneath their asses, man. Because I'll tell you what, Speed is playing like out of his mind right now. That was like 500 APM control on the SUV to deny the probe getting in. Like beautiful stuff that you don't usually see that amount of commitment to out of Terran players early on in a game like this, but Speed just seems to be firing on all cylinders and willing to push the absolute envelope to the max every single time. Really impressed with him, man.
Speed, he's maybe going to have to change his name to 2009 Flash if he keeps improving the way that he has been. Still not quite at that level, but putting up good games against some of the best in the world lately.
Yeah.
I've been impressed with him as well. Factory coming up in the main, and he's continuing to mine gas. This is a little bit interesting. We're going to have a second factory. Really?
Ooh.
Okay, Speed. Double factory play. Is this really the way we want to go out?
I tell you what, no other Terran is probably playing like this. It might just be the thing that Snow doesn't expect, but it still can come back to haunt him. 2 factory is just not that good, guys. And he's going to be losing this SCV to the particle beam of that probe as well, unfortunately. Won't be able to get any additional scanning. Just a single gateway for now. If it remains to be the case, just one gateway the entire time, then maybe we'll see some fireworks. But I don't know if Snow catches wind of this and throws down a second gateway. Could look bad.
Yeah, it could be very bad. And he's playing a bit of footsies here with Speed, as he was with the probe earlier. Wants to get past these Marines and figure out if there's a CC coming, but these Marines are being very aggressive out in the front and preventing him from doing that. That might just tip the hand, really, to Snow. He might be like, huh,
right.
That's a little bit strange. I wonder why you're not building a bunker and being so aggressive.
Well, yeah.
Maybe I just need another gateway.
Yeah, usually you would see to fake this kind of thing is a very far forward bunker as well. Like they'd build the bunker, but they built it very far forward so the goons couldn't get in and check to see if the CC was on the way or not. But in this case, not a single bunker in sight, so it's very suspicious and kind of does telegraph a lot to Snow. And we see the additional gateway being thrown down now as a response to that from a few moments ago.
Shield battery?
The shield battery has to be done. Yeah, shield battery with the second gateway on the way, so there will be some stabilization coming out, even a gateway to plug the gap and deny as much time as possible here as he tries to stabilize. Might be able to get a drill on these Marines with probes as well here.
Ooh, this probe pull is too good, man. He's gonna kill a lot. Okay, getting up in the main base though with the vulture is super annoying. He's gonna get a bunch of kills. Can't send anything up there to deal with that, by the way. Just waiting for a dragon to pop out and clear this up. There's no more mines available for that. He kills the shield battery as well and eats a mine. Dude, one more mine connection could seal the deal for Snow. That would be brutal damage.
This is crazy.
A lot of probes going down as well. Oh man, Speed, has he done it?
I think
Are you kidding me? Is he gonna deny us?
Are you kidding me? Saying this is absolutely wild. Like how tank goes down. Okay, if he can somehow stabilize, this will be really. He's still 2 factories behind this. He just needs to deny any more probes from dying, and he can keep sniping off the vultures and tanks. He will stabilize and be absolutely fine. So far, no additional probes have gone down in the main base, but now here comes the vultures laying down mines on top of this isolated dragoon. Does throw down a pylon on behind the minerals to deny any run bys, but more and more mines being shuffled forward. Does manage to get a beautiful drill onto one of those vultures. Everyone slips through to the back, laying down a mine and trying to go to work on those probes. Does manage to get picked off by the phase disruptor shots of those dragoons, though. More and more vultures, though, streaming in 2 at a time with the 2 factory play. Does now start targeting some of those probes down. Many have fallen already. Supply now 27 to 37 for Speed. Speed in a very commanding position. Beautiful mine on the ramp as well. And more mines being laid in the natural expansion, saying this is getting crazy.
This is really wild. These vultures just keep streaming in. Eventually, Snow will start to stabilize, but look at the supply. 10 supply ahead. Speed is in a great spot. This has been successful enough to where maybe he can make the transition work, and Snow's just going to be behind. This game will go on, though.
Yeah.
That is for sure. There's enough Dragoons to hold on to anything that Speed can send across the map for the time being. He's going to go for another probably 5-fact follow-up. This is his MO. This is exactly how he likes to play.
I think so. It's going to be, he'll make the factory when he can afford it. He's obviously scrounging for resources right now, how delayed this natural expansion is. But it will be maybe fast enough to get this 4-5-fact transition rolling so he can get a strong enough timing attack. Observer is going to be making his way into the main base to identify the exact timing that sees what Speed is trying to go for here. Snow maybe can min-max his own efforts to set up for how he's going to best defend against this.
If we can pull this apart with Reaver, it'll be another insane comeback and a
Yeah.
Long week of insane comebacks.
It'd be very difficult to do so, though. I mean, this is basically the build you want to crush Reavers with. So, it does have 3 gateways, not 2, guys. A little bit deceptive. Remember, one of those gateways is in the natural choke point. So, it does have 3 gate robo here, which is more than enough to survive for the time being. But once these other factories start to kick into high gear, we will need a lot more units and Reaver micro than that to be able to deal with. Beautiful blocking of those vultures from Snow, kind of baiting him in there and managed to kill both of those. So something going Snow's way to maybe stabilize this game a little bit.
Already speed is moving across the map. This guy is relentless. He's just going to push straight up, try to break through Snow's defenses. That's a lot of goons to try and deal with. Just 3 tanks in this army. Shuttle is a great choice. Hope he has a couple of zealots popping out of these gateways in a moment. If he does, he shouldn't have too hard of a time breaking this. The turrets are not easy to... There's not a good place to throw down turrets when you're coming across this bridge. There's basically no buildable terrain, so it's going to be very hard to deal with that shuttle.
Yeah, you basically have to push all the way past this rocky ground, all the way into these little circular areas where he's just now starting to build a turret. But as you can see, you have to control so much ground before the turrets can even be built unchallenged. Now dives on top of one of the tanks from the left flank and does manage to pick that off of losing 2 Dragoons. So pretty good trades, trading 2 Dragoons for 1 tank. More than happy to do that. Oh, Reaver's popping out right on top of the Vultures. Luckily, the shuttle's there to save the day. We'll start losing some of these probes, though, so now it kind of occupies the time of the Reaver to just focus only on clearing up these vultures, that they'd be as annoying as possible and try and force duds out of the Reaver.
I think that oh, what is this mine? I hear a mine, but I don't know where it's going to connect. There's a mine connection on the top side. The tanks are pushing in. We have a Reaver, we have the shuttle. Is it going to be enough for Snow to break this? He has to play absolutely perfect if he wants to stop this attack from coming in and just bowling him over. He's forced the unsiege. He's got the Reaver out. He's going to get a big shot. A pretty reasonable shot there, killing off one of those tanks. But with only a couple of Dragoons left, can he stop this? 2 turrets are up now. And so the Reaver's not going to be nearly as potent. Vulture's just running by into the natural, jumping right on top of these Dragoons. So annoying right now. Great shot with that Reaver, though. Shutting things down just a little. It's so close right now, Shun. He's got 500 minerals in the bank. He's going to throw down an emergency gateway in the main base. This is do or die. He has to hold this.
This is wild, saying he's barely hanging on by a thread. Now that the turrets are being leapfrogged forward, this is really rough for Snow. This is worst case scenario for a Protoss player. This is like the coffin nails are hammering in right now. You need to somehow muster the strength to 3-inch punch away out of that coffin. He might have enough power to do that with these 2 Reavers. 1 tank going down. He is still constantly, relentlessly trying to get into the main base with these vulture stabs. There's a lot of Sim City being thrown down by Snow to deny that potential, but we'll be able to at least snipe the probes that are on gas, deny that income as well. And he has got a bit of a deficit on gas as well, mainly just minerals here. Nothing really going right for Snow in the way of stabilization. Killing one of those Dragoons as well, getting some value out of those vultures is huge, while he's tightening the noose right now on Snow in the natural expansion. With the 2 bases now churning away, it's only going to be a matter of time before Speed can find the tactical checkmate move.
Oh, Snow, he's got to do something here. He's thinking about pulling the trigger maybe on a counterattack with the Reaver. He's just picking at the edges now, but he can't really leave the base. Lest he'll end up losing everything. The Vulture here has got 6 kills. It just found the perfect location to camp out and it keep on killing probes while everything else is going on. He drops the Reaver once again, gonna get another great shot. Tank is very low, but it can still sit here and continuously hit. Oh my god, he's got more vultures in here. It's insane, Shun. He's just dealing so much damage.
I mean, we thought Sharp was relentless with vultures. Now we've got Speed on the cards as well. 2 real modern Terrans showing us a new way of playing Terran. I'm all about it. This is such high-octane fueled gameplay. I'm really enjoying this, and I would love to see more Terrans adopt this style. They're going to have to really work on their multitasking, though. This is like 400, 500 APM level of play. Absolute wild stuff. Beautiful beautiful. Coming in, cleaning up this Reaver, now taking full advantage of this exposed expansion. Just one single Reaver with this shuttle, trying to desperately hold on to here, but it's not going to be a strong enough thread, I don't think. I think everything's going to come crumbling down in a few moments, saying just one or two more tanks pushing up onto this position is all it's going to take for Snow to be squeezed out of this game.
Yeah, Snow has been on the edge of defeat for so long. He's just barely been able to hold on this entire time. He does get the one SCV, though, at that front turret. Stopping that for now is a big win, but Speed is still closing in slowly but surely, continuing to shove army across the map. There's no ability for Snow to counterattack, even though there's nothing back at home. And Speed would probably lose all of his SCVs if there was a Reaver over here. He just can't afford to leave. He just has to break this. He has to stop this right now. Bringing the Zealots in. He's going to drop right on top of these tanks. He's going to try to break the tanks. Double kill on those two tanks is very nice, but he drops the Reaver a second time and takes a whole bunch of damage on that.
Beautiful play from both sides, and I have to say I'm also seeing a lot of spam stop on the tanks from Speed. He's not unsieging them to make them expose. He's just spamming stop sometimes to make it so they don't just instantly lock and shoot and like blow each other up. Really tactical stuff from both sides, trying to get the best of each other. Siege tactical in the unload in the between the three siege tanks. One of the tanks going down. He's trying to bust out with the remainder forces. I don't think it's going to be enough. Saying he's going to get the kill on this Nexus, and it's going to be the checkmate move that Speed needed to finally close out this game and deny us ever finding out what that tiebreaker situation would have been like.
No. All right. Well, nice game by Speed. You gotta give it to him.
Really well played. Really well played.
Takes it home for the Terran squad, and he absolutely deserves it. The way he took down Best and Snow. Basically back to back. Of course, he did take out Jadong in between, but dude, just crazy good play from him. I love to watch Speed play. I'm going to be looking for more games of his to cast. More replays of this guy must be found.
So
dude,
good.
He is,
So
by the
good.
way, both of the two top ladder accounts are Speeds. That number 1 and number 2 on ladder. So this guy is grinding like crazy. He is going to come to AS or the SSL spring season with fire in his eyes and just yes. This guy is crazy. I can't wait to see more from him.
He's so good. Damn, man. I mean, we don't get to see it, but that was a crazy performance from Speed.
Yeah.
You made Snow look a little bit silly. You know what I'm saying? This is the guy that makes Snow look silly in PvT. Just wrap your little brains around that one.
That's wild, man. That is crazy.
I'm telling you, man, we needed this modern Terran approach. We needed Terrans to innovate and come with a different style, completely new way of thinking. It needed to be done to not only shake up the meta, but also to kind of get rid of the psychological defeatist attitude of Terrans have. You know what I mean? Like, because over years and years and years, those beliefs get confounded, and you really believe something to be true, even if it doesn't necessarily might not be the case. You know what I mean? Like you were saying earlier about the pylon blocking thing. Maybe there's a way of playing the game or thinking about the game that actually would work in a different way. It's just you haven't had the bravery to think outside the box yet because you're so pigeonholed into one way of thinking from doing it for so many years. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
So I think some of these modern Terrans are gonna tear it up a little bit.
Possible. Very possible. All right, let's wrap this up. I gotta get this video out.
Yeah.
We're already pretty far behind.
I want
So
to get something to eat. So yeah, let's do it.
okay, let's do it. What a season. What a week of KCM, Shun. This was crazy. We almost saw the comeback of Protoss on top of all the comebacks we've had today with these games. In the end, just 1 point shy of tying up with the Zerg. 9-8-7. Has it ever been closer?
I don't think so. I mean, we've had it in recent seasons. It's getting closer and closer and closer. This is the closest. Now, if we take a look at week 4 as well. So look at week 1, like we see a very tight connection. In week 4, they come back together, and in week 8, we see another very, very tight hold on the. Man, these cables are becoming like spun into such a braided fashion that it'll almost be hard to distinguish who's from who soon. Saying. Which wire do we cut, by the way? Or the bomb's going to go off soon. Quick, which one?
Man, I would have loved to see what happens with the tiebreaker, but I guess we're just going to go into our semifinals. That's going to be Terran versus Protoss for the semifinals. We'll have Zerg waiting in the wings in that final. Very, very exciting season, man. I am out of breath.
Really, yeah.
From all the crazy comebacks this week.
It's big.
Need to go lie down.
It's increasingly becoming that way. Like we've gone from. It's been the last few seasons have gotten more and more like this. It's almost like the script writers have finally figured out a winning formula, and they're getting better at like doubling down on the same kind of. It's crazy. Like before, we had some craziness, but this is just getting out of hand. Not only are we having such wild seasons, but now we're having wild seasons with the scorecard looking really dead even across the board. Like this is impressive.
It's been a lot of fun, guys. Thank you all for coming and hanging out today. I hope you've enjoyed this season as a whole. It's been a blast. We're just about at the end of 2024. And we're going to be rounding things out with an epic semifinal and an awesome finals as well, I'm sure. Whichever team ends up getting into that finals, it's going to be fun. Zerg versus Protoss is Zerg versus Terran. Two of my favorite matchups of all time, so really looking forward to that. Any last words, Shin, before we let them go?
Happy Halloween, everybody. Hope you have a fantastic weekend as always. This was a little bit later than usual, just because of the holidays. Just enjoy it and have a great time. And thanks, guys.
Make sure to check out all the links in the description. Come hang out with us on Discord. Support the channel if you can as well. Make sure to subscribe, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the next one. Okay.
Nice.
Done diddly-un.
That was good, man. That was fucking really good.
Oh,
shit.
Nutty.
Crazy. Wildness.
Yeah, that was another one of those weeks, man. Holy. We had 2 of those this year.
It's almost like it challenges you on like, do you think it can get crazier? Like you ain't seen nothing yet.
Mm-hmm. Which week was that? Was that season 1 or season 2, week 6 that went fucking hard this year?
2.
I can't remember. Season 2, week 6, something like that.
They got increasingly crazier. Like 1 was a little bit crazy, but then 2 was way more crazier. Then 3 was even crazier, and then 4 is like getting new. I don't understand. Like we're off the stratosphere right now. The measurement systems are not working. You know, like there's like things where the measurements are not able to handle the bandwidth of what's going on right now. We're off the scales. Frequencies cannot be registered. One of those games literally took my breath away. It was like so impressive, like craziness. I think it does come down to the lack of preparation. It just comes down to raw Starcraft at that point and knowing what you know. And your star sense through and through.
Right.
You can do a little bit of metagaming, but it's limited, so you have to really rely on your finesse and your ability to figure out the game states and whatnot. You can't just get easy tactical wins because you like thought one step ahead of your opponent in the meta game stage. He also forces people like Saxry to like show you just why he's as good as he is. Because when he's not able to prepare as much, he really does have to like make sacrifices to cover all his bases, which is why he's so happy to go low economy in that shit. Which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, I was impressed with him. He did very good in that best game. Crazy that he wasn't able to win that.
Yeah, man. He's so good. That's what I'm thinking about Solgi. But yeah, I'm surprised he didn't win this. This week 8, yeah. Last week, and then we got semis. Just saving my phone now. Alright, while that's processing, I'm gonna get ready to go and eat, because I'm getting fucking hungry, man. Let's go to the shop and grab something. I'll wire that to you soon. Take like 5 or 6 minutes to render, then I can shoot it to you.
Okay, sounds good. I'm done editing except for your voice.
Yeah, I won't leave until it's ready to send to you, so I'll get it to you as soon as possible. But I'll get ready to leave while I'm talking to you now. Oh man, that was a good shit. I'm really surprised at how good that week was. Hey Sam.
Yeah.
I got my hair cut recently, and it's not like bald or anything, but like it's really short, as in like I've only got like a little bit of length on top, and like it's cut off very quickly, and it goes into a skin fade on the back and sides. So I've got a bit of a slap head like you now.
Bit of a slap head, eh?
Yeah. A little bit of a slap head. Little bit.
Careful, you might suddenly lose it all.
I will
End up like
eventually.
me.
No, I will eventually, because my hair is not great. I've never had great hair. Like, yeah, it looked okay when I was younger. I could kind of rock hair whatever I wanted, but as I've gotten to like my 30s, man, it's like, nah, this ain't gonna last for long. Probably by the time I'm like 40, I'd have to probably go fully bald, at least.
It's not all that bad.
Yeah, I'm not too fussed about it. It is what it is. I know some people get really insecure about that sort of stuff. I'm not as fussy about it. I mean, it'd be nice not to have to deal with it, but it is what it is at the same time. Don't move your mouse. I have to move my mouse a little bit because the screen gets, well, two things. I'm push to talk, so the mouse gets moved if I have to ever pick up my grab my mouse again from if I let go of the mouse, sort of thing. If I'm not carrying the mouse in my hand, so like I'll accidentally move the mouse a little bit by putting my hand on it, or the screen gets set up in such a way that it'll. Discord does this thing where it comes up with like the overlay, and it only disappears if you move the mouse back off the screen again, and the overlay blocks like the supplies of the and the mineral count of one of the players. So it's like so I have to move the mouse every now and then to stop it from covering up the overlay. You know what I mean? So the Discord overlay gets in the way of the game overlay sometimes, so I have to move the mouse for that reason as well. Oh, this render takes ages when you do it in a good quality. Still got a minute and a half left. But at least it sounds decent, eh?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely sounds better.
Oh, it's so much better. Especially for my voice type, because I've got a low voice. It kind of sounds a little bit weird on like lower quality.
Yeah, now people are used to the quality change too, so we can't go back.
If we went, yeah, if you go back, it's more noticeable, right? Like if you stay the same quality, it's not that big a deal. But if you go from being like mediocre to being good to mediocre after already being good, yeah, you're in trouble. Like.
Yeah, not a good plan.
You got anything on the agenda this evening, or are you like just getting this going then sleeping?
Yeah, I'll probably just sleep. I slept like almost a whole day today.
Yeah.
But maybe I'll try to sleep soon.
No, don't blame you. You should get some rest, man. Make sure you're all caught up. Uploading it now. Give me a sec.
Okay.
Rubbing his skin fade. Yeah, I rubbed it a little bit. Not much though. It's like nice to feel a little bit like, oh, that's interesting. But honestly, like I kind of like lose interest in doing that for like more than a few seconds. I'm being real about it. It is kind of freaky to like go from having full head of hair to skin fade. At least like initially. There you go, saying that should work.
All right, man.
All right, bro.
Have a nice lunch.
Yeah, you have a nice sleep, my guy. Good cast. Take it easy, buddy.
Talk to you later.
See you later, stream. Take it easy.